Start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just gonna make a quick change to the agenda before we get started. Got a liquor control board at the end of the night for the new owners of the crossing. So as long as nobody objects, I'm just gonna add that to the end. And we'll start with Vermont State Trooper Joe Paquette.
Hi, Patrol Commander in St. Albans Barracks, been here for quite a few years now. A total of 22 years on the force, and I think the majority was up in Franklin Grand House. Did a short stint in Memorial. We are trying to expand our community outreach to the select board members. So you may see our new lieutenant, Jerry Parton, myself, or Sergeant Mike Amont. Try to attend these meetings off and on. We're trying to diversify what we're doing, as well as diversify each of us up here so everybody has a different view and different say. We're trying to do it every quarterly to get somebody at all the meetings throughout Franklin Grand counties. Sometimes it's not going to work, given when you guys have meetings at the same time as all the other select boards. So sometimes it can be tough. But obviously, we have an open door policy. If you have a question, concern, obviously raise a voice. Or if you think you need us up here for whatever reason, we can have somebody definitely attend. Okay, so I have got a list of crimes for last quarter that we responded to for the state police. This is indicative for most of the cases that were punched, but not every calls for service. So some calls for service are documented where there's just a phone call for information, or they stop in the barracks to do something and they're from resident of Richford, but they do, like, say, a VIN check or, a service paperwork. They'll be punched in that town, not so much this town.
Those are all Richford, or?
These are just Richford.
Just Richford.
Specific from the state police.
Okay.
We don't do the sheriff's department or any other
Right.
agency, so. But there's just kind of an idea of what most of the stuff that we're doing right now. We're doing a lot of 911 calls. Most of them fake, or false, I should say.
15 on here.
Which is, it's consistent throughout the rest of the towns, and it's usually kids playing with phones.
Yeah.
Or, like, we've had a lot of power-related ones where if it's a heavy snowstorm, heavy rainstorm, or heavy wind, we'll get a trigger, we have to respond, obviously. We also get a lot of alarms, from the high school. It happens, but, that's fine, because we're still gonna respond, so. Obviously, it's a public building, we wanna make sure it's secure, so. Is there anything that sticks out on that you're concerned with at the moment?
No, just it's interesting. This is for the whole year.
No, that's just for the quarter.
That's
That's
just for the
since,
quarter.
I think the dates are on the bottom.
Wow.
I think it's September 15th. You'll get your annual report one when we do the annual report here in January.
118
So,
calls.
I think on average, Richford takes about just around 1,000 calls a year, possibly. It has been down from prior past because you have the sheriff's department patrolling a lot more, and we have extra patrol up here for overtime details, so that's really reduced a lot of your crime and calls for service. It's a good thing, I guess is the best way to put it. Right now, we are down to, I think, 3 people. We have 1 person injured, so that kind of, you haven't seen us as much. That's part of the reason. But we did just pick up a new canine for a bomb dog. So he's in the infancy stages, so it's just a matter of next 18 months worth of training, and then the dog and the kennel will be up and running. So if you get that suspicious package with the town offices or at the post office or at the school or whatever like that, if it deems necessary, we can call in our special team, and he would be the person deployed. So, which is good because that gives us 3 dogs now. Because Trooper Farmer here has a canine. We have another NCSS worker. I'm not sure Lieutenant Moth told you about our NCSS worker. So we have an NCSS worker who's a counselor.
Is that sex crimes?
No, it's NCSS is our
Mental health crisis.
Mental health crisis,
Yeah.
okay.
So he's embedded with us. He's been here for about a year now. And he works with us. We're kind of a pilot program for the state. And the idea is that if we go to a suicidal person or a traumatic event or someone had a death in the family, he would be here instead of calling an NCSS building. He works with us. So we would actually transport him up with us, do all the crisis right in there, as long as it's a safe spot. Obviously we're not gonna bring him up here if someone's shooting a gun off and stuff like that, but we will have him in the background to deal with the aftermath, to help people and students or family members, and it's become a great asset, because that's actually reduced a lot of our calls, because he's able to speak with people and family immediately, and he's able to follow up with them for work, so it causes them to have less work, it allows us to have less work, and it keeps him well employed. So it's infancy, we're trying to get a state position, but we have to build up, the basis that we all do with all state. Yes.
Does your mental health person also deal with people who are found to be actively addicted to opioids and to like help them?
The answer to
You
that
deal
is,
with the
yeah, I
legal
understand.
aspect of them, get them into treatment?
He
or?
is a services, he will, depending upon the situation, he's more of a crisis
Okay.
person, so something that's immediate, we always use death in the family, traumatic events,
Fatalities.
fatality crashes,
Yeah,
or a suicidal person,
right.
or suicides.
Yeah.
We definitely, that's his specialty kind of thing,
Okay.
but he works for NCSS, so he will still get the information, and he'll still help you, or help any family that needs it, get the correct resources, get the
Okay.
correct counseling. Because NCSS is broken up kind of like our state police organization. We each have a field where they concentrate mostly on,
Okay.
and that's where they will get the
So
right
his focus is more trauma.
for us,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay, thank
So, no problem.
We have a lot of fish and game complaints.
Yeah, well, that's hunting
Plus,
season,
hunting
so
season is a quarter.
it's gonna spike, it always spikes.
You
that's
want
all
this
right.
back? Or
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I had
I
a
think
question
it's fair.
as far as like, well, we have the contract with the sheriffs in Richford, some of the other towns that may not have a contract with the sheriffs. Do you see different call volumes from those towns versus like weighing out the options of having the sheriff versus not having the sheriff?
We do see different volumes, and then depending upon, without actually seeing the raw data, it's really hard to predict where they are right now. I do know, just for generalization, Enosburg has a lot of calls for service like Richford does. So to have an impact, I can't really speculate what the impact is when they're there or when they're not. I do know since they have been in town, our volume has gone down. Because it's that constant deterrent that they always
Right.
see a cruiser running around. And summertime, it doesn't seem like it in summertime, but it actually has. I mean, I remember I was working up here in '98, and we used to have 5 cars down here, and 5 cars would walk out with somebody, and it doesn't happen anymore. So I've seen it over the last 2 decades, the change that having just a police force up here.
And if there's ever a call from someone in Richford, I don't remember who it was, but it was a few meetings ago, or maybe more than that. Someone had said that they tried calling. They called state police, and they told them that they wouldn't respond because there was a sheriff on duty in Richford at that time. Does that happen?
Yes. There is a law saying if a town has an enforcement or police services, that we have to provide them the number to contact that police services. We're not supposed to interfere with other police activity, if you will. Obviously, if we're going to and from and we find something, we're gonna deal with it, or we'll back them up and we'll deal with it. But you have a contract with the sheriff's department, so while they're in town, they're supposed to handle all the work. Unless it's above where they can't handle it and they ask us for help.
So does dispatch know the hours that day that the sheriffs are going to be here in Richford? So if a call comes in at 4 a.m, the sheriffs aren't here in Richford, then
Right.
the state
Yeah, we
police
will
would
get the
respond.
calls. Yeah, we will get it.
Okay.
So
it's
we know
only
when the
during-
contracts are.
During their hours of
Yeah, it's just
operation.
their hours of operation unless it's a case they're already working on. So if you have a burglary that comes into, say, here, came in at 8 o'clock in the evening, they're working. It's up to them to finish it, and they're gonna work it. So if you get a tip that they're breaking in again, we're gonna respond.
Gotcha.
But if they're already working a case, and we can't, we're not gonna interfere with their investigation, because sometimes we will step on stuff they've already done, and then sometimes we'll mess up what they're already working. They could be holding a sting for all we don't know. Or they have a tip of who it is, and if we interfere with that, that person clamps up, and then we just lost the case anyway. But we will always work in conjunction with them if they need help, and vice versa, so.
Okay.
And we back them up just like we back Border Patrol up, and they back us up. It's sometimes Border Patrol helps us contain an area until we can show up, because our response sometimes is slower, especially after hours. And we know that. But Border
That
Patrol-
actually happened the other day in the parking lot. The Border Patrol came and secured the scene, and
Yeah,
the
that's why I
sheriffs
mentioned
came.
it, yeah,
Yes, and
yeah.
the sheriffs came right off,
So-
but they had to
Yep.
hold them there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they will. I mean, the law
They were
enforcement
good. There were
officers,
5 of them.
they have special powers for certain things,
Right.
but they just can't do our work. You know,
Right.
it's just that they have their own work, we have our work, and I don't like using them just because they do have their own work, and every time they're backing us up, we're taking away from what they need to be doing. But they're more than happy to help. You know, I know
They were right
folks
there,
all
yeah.
know them.
Usually there's enough of them on duty where they
Yeah.
can.
And sometimes there isn't, just like us. But you know, but it's still, it comes down to that. We don't want to abuse the help they give us, just like they want to abuse our help. You know, because we want to make sure that working relationships there.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to be told we're not going to help you anymore because you're using us too much for stuff that we shouldn't be helping you. You know, so it's that weird balance. So. Yeah. All right. So
I have a question.
yes.
I thought I heard you mention something about going up to the school. In what situation would you go to the school if there's already a resource officer up there?
Well, we would go out for alarms mostly, like after hours. We get that 5:30, 6 o'clock kitchen door alarm. So.
Okay,
And a lot of times, we understand there's always that gap, so we always wait to see, see if somebody's gonna call back, see if it's canceled first. And it's usually 10 minutes, but if we don't hear anybody, we have to come. So our guys are getting ready, regardless of what happens, and if we don't get the call back, we're on our way.
And would be in usually the evenings,
It's usually in the morning.
in the all before.
After they're gone, after the sheriff's.
It's usually like a janitor or something.
Yeah, and it's expected. You're not the only school. I just use that as an example because it's Richford, but you know, I get them from Berkshire, I get them from Unitsburg, I get them here. You know, we get them from Fairfax. It just happens sometimes. Or sometimes they trip it, they don't know it, or they put in the wrong code and it trips it. And it's not a big deal. Most of the time, the alarm company's trying to get a hold of it, we get canceled. But sometimes we don't. And we always, for government buildings, we always will respond regardless. If the school resource officer is asking for help, we have to get it from their boss. Say, hey, he's got a situation going on up there, can you give him a hand? And we will respond to any school incident if they ask for help. But there hasn't been any help from Richford that I'm aware of. That's,
And that would be from the sheriff, right, from Roger?
right. Yeah, and he's quick, he calls if he needs help. He's not, you know, he's not one that's gonna sit back and try to deal with it if he knows he's way above where he asks for resources.
Mhm.
I've seen that, so, used to work with Roger. You good? All right, so we have another thing we're trying to do right now. It's kind of like a community,
So basically, how we're approaching it, it's not community policing, it's a partnership with towns. And so it's gonna be a slow process, but it's a new, kind of an intel way of policing. So it's called intelligence-based policing. So what we're trying to do is that we've realized that there's a hole or a gap, if you will, between us being always around, because we're short, like Sergeant said, and we just can't be everywhere at once. So we're trying to present to towns a partnership between like townspeople and state police, and a lot of the stuff is anonymous. We're just looking for tips, like, hey, there's a black Durango, I don't know what the license plate is, it's Vermont, I know there's a 3 and a 2 in it. We can then try to do some research, maybe we can't find anything and it just is what it is, or it breaks a case open or starts an investigation. So what we started doing is we're doing what we call spider webbing, and so it's like you learned in school, circle, line, circle, line. And we're doing it for every town that we cover, and we do already have one in Richford started. Basically what we're looking at is drug activity, could be burglaries and stuff, but we really want to focus on drug activity because everything spikes from drug activity. They're your burglaries, your break-ins, your thefts, sometimes your assaults, you know, all that stuff.
Vandalism.
So vandalisms, pretty much every crime that you guys can think of, it probably goes back to drugs. So we're trying to utilize this intelligence-based policing to help us develop cases where we fell short before. And it's also showing, because historically we show that we do all the work and we make the arrest, and then the courts will say, oh, you guys are good on probation or whatever, because we have a smaller case. So now with the spider webbing, it shows all of our work, kind of like a kid in school, you know, you show all your math, you know?
Yep.
So it shows everything, so then we can charge for bigger charges like conspiracy and stuff. So we're trying to put more work in it, write our work down instead of just knowing it. We want to write it down, and all the troops in the barracks now can access it, where before it was just who you're working with on shift. So we're getting all this stuff up and running, and we're asking the towns to help us back. So basically, it's going to be a partnership, and I got cards for you guys. We have a listserv for an email It's anonymous. If you wanna say, hey, my name's so-and-so, I'll be a witness or whatever, that's fine. But, for example, we got a letter in the mail. It was handwritten, a little bit crude letter, no names, nothing. Gave us a bunch of, information. It was like borderline good. It was like, gave us a couple names, half license plate, description of the vehicle, and where they're selling crack cocaine. Took us an hour of digging around, and we now have a spider web that has like 6 people on it, locations, all this stuff. That was off one little letter of a couple things.
So you're saying that, that way you're able to see, like, if I'm committing a crime, that I've committed other crimes, it's,
That
or had other complaints.
or who you're
about
hanging
me.
out with.
Or who you're
So
hanging out
maybe
with,
you're hanging out with him, but we don't know who
No
he
way.
is.
No.
Yeah. And then I stopped him 2 weeks later now, and I have all this intel that I found from day shift and night shift, and
Right.
all these other troopers have
And it
developed
puts
this.
it together.
And I literally sign on, boom, I look at all the webs, okay, I'm gonna go up to Richford Patrol, oh, I stopped, blue car, oh, it's him. This trooper just said, hey, I stopped him 2 days ago, did a consent search, pulled crack cocaine out of the vehicle. I now have reasonable suspicion
Right.
to start an investigation.
Keep going, right?
So then I see a Brillo pad, now I can use my dog and I can run my dog on his car. And then boom, I get in there and we can go from there. So
How long have you had that established
I
in
use it to
Richford?
smoke it.
we literally just started this like 2 months ago.
It's a filter.
It's not just
It's a filter
Richford, it's
for your pipe.
Franklin County, Grand Isle County. So whatever town gives us more information, whatever the hottest lead is where we're gonna keep going. Or the biggest need.
We are, like the trooper said, we have a couple spider webs going, but we're gonna concentrate on Richford first, because we know there's a higher potential of problems up here, and certain crimes that we know can be solved if we just had the time to work on it. So right now, we have 4 troopers that we're dedicating to the spider web. For most of, like 50% of their workload is gonna be just this, to see if we can establish real big cases, and to see if we can make these links. We figured Richford is, you guys are neglected, we know that. And we know that you're the highest potential.
That's
Say
why,
of
because
getting a
we're,
big case.
they hide here.
Well, you're way off.
Yeah,
in the
we're
middle
off out of
nowhere.
the web.
So we wanna make sure we start here first, and I'm not just saying that, we are actually starting here first. I talked to our lieutenant, I talked with Sergeant Amott, so we all on the same board with the same thing. The big key is that, we have these cards for you just to hand out to the public, they're not just for everybody here. It's all anonymous, and the idea is that the community has to be part of it in order for it to work. We don't necessarily need names. Obviously, if something's happening right there, or it's on your property, you wanna get, this just happened, I watched it happen, we're gonna deal with that crime anyway, but it's still gonna go on the web for a bigger picture. Because, like I said, we know the certain people that like to fight in the middle of the street. We get called, we arrest them both, and then 30 days later, they're doing it again. So now we have 2 acts for the same reason. If we can link them to other crimes, now we know why they're feuding.
So is this basically taking the information that you have historically gathered, but putting it into an accessible context that allows you to link just, are you going to be going into the backlogs to put information into the system?
So when you do this, for sake of like court and proceedings, that's what we always think of big picture, like how's this gonna play out in court? So like if something happened 2 years ago, it's notable, like Sarge said, we have one guy, the guy that's injured is actually on light duty, he's going back a little bit, but if it's like 5 years old, that's stale data, we can't really arrest somebody on that. But if it's like 2 weeks old, or we have like every month they've been arrested,
Okay.
that's kind of fresh, so we can utilize that.
Right.
Or if they have a history, it means something. But if it's like, oh, the guy arrested back in 2000, but we haven't seen him since,
Okay.
that's stale. We can't use that.
Yeah, we can't use information from a year ago to get a search warrant in his house tomorrow.
Okay.
It has to be real fresh, real new, if it's been
Okay.
changed.
So we're kind of looking at, going back maybe a few months and then just moving forward and creating a context to look at information so that you can
Right.
connect it.
And something we can print, like say, like Sergeant was saying, we're also like, we're kind of looking at the big picture. We've been just kind of plugging holes. We want to plug the holes, but then also like cut the cancer out and hopefully stop it. So like at the end of the day, the program we're using, if you think of like a whiteboard, that's kind of how it is. We can print off our spider web, and we have pictures, we have vehicles that are actual vehicles. We have, this is if you think like big picture, like we're just cutting and pasting a lot of stuff that's real data from Richford. We can print this spider web out with the pictures and stuff, roll it up, bring it to court, and show conspiracy of sales, which is a huge charge. So that's what we're going after is, we're gonna charge him for the deals that he's making, but then once it's all buttoned up, we're gonna slam this huge charge down on him, because we have documented all of our work, where before we haven't done that, we've just known it. And then we get the little pinches. Now we're looking to do that and then add at the end, okay, we've developed this case, he's a dealer, and then look why he's a dealer. And that's been going along a long ways down south in southern Vermont. So we're looking to implement that up here because we know we have issues, we know who the players are. Some of them, we're looking, or we know the big players, we just can't get to them.
It's not just for that, just so everybody's clear, it's not just for certain people, we're not targeting people. That could be any event that we see, hey, you know what? Why this guy burning out 3 o'clock in the morning around town, we're gonna play, we're gonna put that in there as well. Because you never know if that's connected to somebody else. Why is this person on at 3 o'clock doing donuts in Main Street, you know? I know it's typical Saturday night in Richford in the summer, but that's the kind of stuff that we're gonna still log into. Any information, it's all about information, it's not about targeting certain people. You know, I just use that as an example because drug crime is the biggest crime that you guys are running into.
Are you aware of our cameras?
Yes.
And you are able to
I am.
access them?
Yes.
No
Most of the
problem.
barracks are.
Because if you don't, you can call Sunray and they
Yep.
will call, okay,
Yeah,
you're
we're all
all
aware
good
of
on that, okay.
And we've actually utilized some of the video for crimes.
I know,
It's
so
just
we're
a matter
gonna
of
update
calling.
them, these down here, this,
Yeah, and they've been a great help in some cases.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
especially
they-
when
yeah,
they're
they've
right down
helped.
here in the intersection.
yeah.
So would this being implemented, will we see more, like, will we see more Vermont
People?
State Police vehicles
Possibly,
in
yes.
our town compared to what we did last year? I mean,
Yeah, it's possible. The idea is, yes, if we get enough data, we're gonna do data-driven patrols, and we're gonna also do it to gather more information.
You doing undercover too, or,
Yes.
so we might not see
We
it.
have detectives that are on board with this. We have a couple unmarked cars. And tell you, we have, our agency works with Border Patrol for our stone garden details. And we're aware of those. Even when those guys are up here, even the sheriff's department that come up here and other local agencies, they're providing us information as well. We're not taking their information, but we're just getting the information they're giving us. Like I said, it's not all about, hey, you have to have a crime, it's like the guy blowing a donut. Or this guy's riding his ATV doing wheels down Main Street. We're gonna, if you know what it is, we're gonna put it in the link. Because you never know if it's connected. And so we need the community to understand that, information not gathered is bad information.
Like, you guys know what the norm is here. You guys know what is normal, what's not normal.
Right.
So just like Sarge is saying, like, if you see somebody staggering down the street and you know who it is, we might not necessarily know, or we know maybe their real name but not their nickname. Sometimes a nickname, we're trying to identify who Blue is sometimes, and we don't know that. But you guys know all this stuff because you live here.
Yeah.
And so that's
Right.
been really helpful. Just like, hey, didn't know if you guys know that, Joe Smo is nicknamed Blue as Blue.
Right. Tattoos on the neck.
Right.
Sometimes
Anything
you
like
know,
that.
so.
But Saturday, I don't know if it was serious or not, but it didn't look normal to me and my brother. I was waiting at the store to pick up my daughter after work at 2 o'clock, and this black guy pulled in the yard. He waited in his car until another vehicle showed up. Then they both went in the store together, and he come out with coffee, and she come out with nothing in her hand. And while he got in his car, a knife, he reached in his pocket to grab his cigarette pack, and a knife fell out of his pocket, a steak knife. We didn't know what it was at first until he left. We went picked it up, and there was a steak knife.
Was it an out-of-state plate or was it a local?
That one there was Vermont plate, the other one was
Right.
out of state.
Well, yeah, and we have to, we have to be careful as an agency, because we can't target somebody based on obviously race or
Right.
ethnicity and stuff like that. So this is why we try to concentrate on crimes. And if it's crime information, that's suspicious in a sense, but
Right.
anybody can carry a knife. I mean, everybody here has probably got a knife on them, right?
Well,
You're not
yeah.
a
Oh my God.
Not a steak knife.
But if you're already here.
Steak knife.
I don't know why that steak knife
Some
was in
people
his
only have steak
pocket.
knives,
Yeah.
but I've seen people carry hatchets in the store. I mean, it's
Because
crazy.
he
but
put his
it's-
handbag in his pocket, and I don't know if he was looking for it, but he looked in his car after that, and he didn't find what he was looking for, and he took off.
I mean, if he came out and looked like he was casing the joint, or there was some weird exchange, that would be suspicious. Or if he's like parked way behind Mayhew's in the dark, and he's like, "Why are you over here?" And he's been over there for an hour and a half. That could be suspicious. That's the stuff we're looking for. So we just got to make sure we're gonna vet everything we get anyway. But we just, obviously we have policies, but we don't wanna make sure we're not intruding on people's rights either, so. So this is where it's that gray area. Information's free, good information's better. So,
Just so you guys know, we're handing these out in car stops as well, because our number one way to contact the public, good or bad, is car stops. So like our thing was we're pushing a lot of the troopers now, where before sometimes we were just, there for traffic enforcement. Now we're trying to encourage, do your traffic enforcement at the end of the stop, say, hey, we're looking at this, here's, remain anonymous. So we're just trying to get our email out there as much as we can, because it encourage somebody to be like, hey,
Right.
okay, I can do this. Like everybody has a phone, boom, boom, 2 second,
Yeah.
once, if it's a sentence, hey, saw a suspicious vehicle at Mayhew's, this is the plate. It might be nothing, we might run and be like, oh my God, we're looking for that car.
Yeah.
So that's what we're kind of trying to encourage. A lot of people think, oh, I need really good intel. No, like, just something. We'll vet it. If it's nothing, we'll discard it. If it's something, we'll add it to the thing and go from there.
I feel good about this.
well, yeah,
It's
and
good.
like I said, we'll probably have a letter out for you guys to put in as part of your yearly annual report.
Annual report,
So
yeah,
we'll
that
make
would
sure
be a
this
good
stuff
place.
gets in there, because then more people will see it that way, but if you can start rolling it out,
Yeah.
start talking about it, that's what we're looking for.
Right.
And we expect to follow up with you guys anyway, so.
Good.
I'm thinking ways to get the word out, like the website.
Maybe our social media page.
Yeah, social
Yeah.
media.
We're on just a
town's
social
website.
media page for the town that we post a lot of stuff
Well,
on.
it's on
maybe.
TV right now.
Right.
so
If you
too.
could-
Or you can just take a picture of this, post it on there, so
Yeah.
everybody knows, and these
Yeah.
obviously, these are for you guys anyway.
And Front Porch Forum, I think,
Yeah.
like if each.
In our minutes.
And, if people are free to call us, and if they have questions about it, we'll obviously answer if we're available. It doesn't have to be us too, it could be several people in barracks. We have Ben Patno, Trooper Patno.
Ben
He's-
Patton
He's on light duty right now, but he's there Monday through Friday, as long as he doesn't have a doctor's
in
appointments.
Nisburg High School.
Yep.
Yes, he
So,
did.
but he's also working on this with Trooper Farmers, so, it's just a matter of just call. Say you got questions about the IVP or, the intelligence thing that the troopers are saying at the select board.
And that's what we're looking for. We don't have the avenues of posting this on Facebook. We tried to get our own Facebook, but we're not allowed through, like Sarge said, we have restrictions. This is where we need a partnership with the town. Like, you guys have a lot of resources that we can't access, just due to the nature of our position. So exactly, like, if you guys can put it on your Facebook and stuff like that, that's gonna be super beneficial, where we don't have that access.
What may be helpful to them, to the select board or to whoever's posting around town would be if you could email something, a script,
Yeah.
what you want to happen and what it is you're doing.
Yeah, that's why I said
So
with
that
the
it's-
meeting
Yeah.
we wanna make sure it gets in the annual report. We'll try to put something together. We'll have to work with our lieutenant.
Has to
But
be
that's
by
not until
January
March,
15th.
but I'm
Okay.
saying,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah,
wanted to do something
Quick
now,
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
put together a little script and they could post it on.
Yeah, just email it to me or something. Maybe I'll put my email on the back of one of them cards for you.
Absolutely.
I can start with just taking a picture of that and.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna leave these here for, you can hand out and take
And
home.
Andy, share.
Pass out to people
During
that-
the week sometime I can
Share
pass.
with me
them.
whatever
Right.
you get from them.
If people come in, regulars come in and say, hey, you
Yeah,
got this,
here's
pass it
this,
on, you know
and tell them what
what
it
you
is. yeah.
And a lot of times, the people that we don't deal with, the good people, the good citizens,
Yeah.
know so much more, and we don't ever deal with them to talk to them, so it's
Yeah,
super
no
helpful,
reason, yeah.
exactly.
It's all anonymous, if you wanna be anonymous.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then you can call us, give us your name, still, and we'll still talk to you, and say, I just don't want my name being used.
Like on the sleeping.
It's just to try to get information of crime and try to deter crime when we can. So, because whatever's gonna go in there, we're gonna end up, like Trooper said, if we can put a case, that case is gonna be, that's gonna be part of it.
Yeah, I
So-
think it's great.
So it's kind of like, it's called a link chart in the past, and they changed the names, so
Yeah.
try to soften it up a little bit.
This is Spiderweb.
Yeah, so that's the idea, it's just,
Yeah.
gotta go with the times, so.
I think it's great.
it's-
And then create a contract.
Trouble is probably get the same names over and over.
That's fine.
But we're hoping to make an impact to actually get something done in the court process.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is that we're frustrated as well, because we're doing the same people over and over.
Over and over, yeah.
Yep.
And they seem to get out all the
Yep.
time.
Yep. So we're trying to close that loop on our end, at least provide the best product we can,
Yeah.
to then hopefully, push the course to do something else.
Yeah, great.
Everybody good?
Yeah, very good. Thank you for coming.
Yep, well, we'll head out.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, a lot of movement, though.
Small room.
Yeah.
And next I got Darlene for the Richford Revitalization update.
Okay. So my purpose here tonight is to give everyone a little update about the revitalization group, and where it has gone so far and what we have been focusing on. There was a public forum in October, at the end of October, and it was I know Linda was there and I know Andy was there.
Scott was there, I think, too.
Scott and Linda were there, yep. And out of that public forum, I came away with 4 things that I felt the audience was focused on. One was economic development. A big one that surprised me was housing. One was a paid position at the town hall for somebody working on economic development. And the other would be, let's see, 4 things. Housing, economic development.
Grants, or was that the meeting? All the grants available? No.
It'll come to me.
Okay.
Anyways, on the housing piece, we've had a couple of meetings with Michael Monte. Michael is the CEO of Champlain Housing Trust, and they have different programs that he came up and presented to us that I think would be very beneficial to landowners, property owners, landlords, and possibly they have one program that is very exciting to me that wouldn't necessarily, it would be Champlain Housing Trust that has a program that's called their Shared Equity Program. And they go in and work with the town and look at properties that may be close to being, may be very inexpensive, maybe they haven't deteriorated all the way yet, they're still salvageable, and they will buy them, say buy them at tax sale or buy them in foreclosure. They will do the renovations and then they resell them. So that,
This is Champlain Housing?
yeah, CHT, Champlain Housing Trust.
Now, they have to have, what is their connection with us? They could do this by themselves, but what is their, would we say to them, we have a house that you need to do, or would we apply for something? Because we don't seem to be involved.
It's kind of preliminary right now. I'm not sure what, how they have approached it in other towns. Where we're at right now with it is we need to identify which properties we're talking about and maybe come up with a few that we would like
No problem.
them to take a look at and maybe focus on.
For the town to be involved, maybe they mandate that the town purchases the property first.
No,
and
they say they purchased.
He said they would purchase the property, they would,
That's why I wondered what the town had to do with it. I mean,
and they would take care of I think it's something that they're trying to help us out with. So they want to make an impact and they want the town to help them identify, okay, which properties do you think are gonna make the most impact? And then they will look at those properties and say, yes, I think that, he gave an example at the meeting of maybe buying a place for $25,000 or $50,000 and then putting another $40,000 into it. So then you've got $90,000 into the house. CHT would have $90,000 into the house, and then they might turn around and sell it for $110,000. Not a huge profit, but and maybe not even what the going price. They're going to give a deal to that person, and then the person that buys it, the expectation is that they'll pass on. When they decide it's time for them to sell, that they'll pay it forward, and if not, they still they'll make a profit. But all I could think of was Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, those loans, the federal loans that people used to get, and maybe they still do.
would they finance the people, you mean?
I don't believe they finance the people.
Okay.
Possibly. They possibly do.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this new?
It's not a new program.
Really? something?
town is usually the municipal agent
Right,
initiating the granting process.
yeah,
It's like you have to have the permission of the municipality to get it off the ground.
right.
It's possible. And I know that a concern was presented that properties in this program do not have to pay property taxes, which would really, that was something that came up at our
That's not
meeting.
good.
But it was misinformation.
Okay, good.
So I wanted
We
to
can't
say
lose
that
taxes.
here today, out loud, in front of the camera.
Good.
I did send an email to Mr. Monte and asked him, do these
Yeah. They are
property
taxed.
owners continue to have to pay taxes? And he said yes.
In the end.
Good.
So the other program, there's programs for tenants, or not necessarily tenants, landlords. So if a landlord wanted to get a low-interest loan, if they're renting to people that meet the income eligibility, and the eligibility, the thresholds are pretty high, you know, like for a single person, it's 55,000, I think. And, you know, for a couple, it's maybe 70,000 or 75,000.
And I think that's partly because Franklin Grand Isle are considered to be part of Chittenden County, so
Right.
those numbers are
Higher.
higher here than it really makes sense for them to be. Because if you go over into the Northeast Kingdom, it's like 10 grand lower. But, and so that's like the one case in which it's a good thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
And actually individual property owners as well. So say you have a house and you're, you know, just getting by, you're paying your bills, you need a new roof, and you can't really afford it, but it needs to be done or your house is just gonna collapse.
So it's blighted property, or something that needs to be improved property, so you,
Yes.
doesn't necessarily have to be.
And he, you know, they
trash.
and it sounded like they kind of like to go for the, maybe a little bit bigger projects. He said, you know, if you're looking to do a renovation project and you want, and part of that renovation is to paint your house, then yes, you know, it could be part of the project. But if you just wanted to paint your house, it's not really a structural
Right.
improvement.
Something-
They want to make a structural improvement. And in addition to being a low interest loan, he said there's a lot of latitude that they have with the people that borrow the money. Sometimes it's deferred payments, and the payments could be deferred until you sell your house in some situations. So, if you were in that position and you had a house and you needed a new roof and you couldn't pay for it, and somebody said to you, I'll give you a loan and you don't even have to pay me back until you sell your house,
Sign up.
it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Or it sounds like one anyway.
Yeah, it
It's
sounds
worth
like a good deal.
worth investigating,
That's
for
right,
sure.
that's right.
And same type of thing for landlords, as long as they're renting to people that are low income.
But wasn't it only for landlords that occupied the houses? It wasn't for landlords that own dozens of properties.
There were different I wish I had that pamphlet, but I gave it to
Yeah,
somebody.
there's one for ADA, there's one for installing sprinkler systems, there's different programs.
Huh.
So I'm pretty excited about what CHT has to offer,
Yeah.
and I think we'll continue looking at that.
Yeah.
As far as the economic development goes, since that meeting, I've been focused on the other three areas, and I haven't really done, the fourth one was marketing. Marketing the town. So the fourth one was marketing, and as for marketing, what I've done is met with Beth O'Brien at the school and asked her if she would take that on and base our marketing efforts at the
Kids,
school.
So they can make a pamphlet or.
With the kids and with Brianna Morse is a teacher at the school, and she's also on REAC, and Ginger Morse is
Yep.
Brianna's mom. And so the three of them working together, Rosalind LaRiviere, I'd like to be part of that focus group as well. And anybody else that was interested on that piece. So they'd be working on like, not necessarily posting to the website or posting to the Facebook page, but maybe submitting material that could be posted to whoever's doing it. Or maybe they have, you know, an idea for a new website and they could, you know, develop one at the high school that could be more easily managed by other people. So, you know, just trying to make improvements that way, trying to really think about who would we want to market to? Who is interested in Richford? Who would want to come here? Maybe alumni, maybe people that like the great outdoors, you know, outdoor enthusiasts, people that have a connection to Canada but want to live in the United States. You know, if you take the time to think about it, you have better success when you're trying to get people here. So that was the other, and then as far as the position, and that's what I'm here for today, is to make a request to include in the 2020 budget a position for a full-time economic development coordinator. And this is a draft job description, and.
You have another one?
Huh?
I need one.
Oh, I thought I gave you one.
I gave it to Scott.
Okay.
Skipped him.
So this, I met with Linda and Alan and Kylie on Friday, and trying to figure, I had 3 different job description samples to go from. This is modeled after the job description for the position in Swanton. There's a new position in Enosburg as well. And then there was another job description that I just took off the internet from a place in Maine. And I just went through and kind of tried to tweak it somewhat to apply to Richford. And I don't know if this, I mean, this is draft. It could be totally changed if you don't like it. The description itself isn't important to me. What is important, you know, I know Linda had said something about including Richford Economic REAC in there, so I did put REAC. As far as collaborating with REAC, the person would not report to REAC, the person would report to the select board and work for the select board. It's just their focus is economic development, so it makes sense that they would collaborate with REAC as well, and maybe,
Tell them the range of salary you discussed with us.
the salary range that we had talked about, and my computer died on me here, so, I believe it was 45 to 50,000.
Plus benefits.
And so with benefits, it would be about $80,000. That would be a full-time position. And the town clerk estimated that on that amount of money, that it would make a difference. It would be about $80 per 100,000 of a property assessment. So if you own a house that costs,
Right, go up 4 cents on tax.
that's
4
appraised.
cents on the tax on top of
Right.
what we're doing now. We don't know what we're doing, but this would be 4 cents
That's
extra,
4-cent increase.
which on $100,000 is what,
What's
400?
Yep.
did the idea get talked about at all about it being to start a part-time position instead of jumping right into a full-fledged full-time position with benefits, and maybe make that number less than half of what it is for the first year, just to get our feet wet and see where the job may where it may
Anything's
go?
possible. I mean, anything's better
Better
than
than nothing.
nothing.
It's
And
finding the person that will
and
do it.
actually, when it was pitched, I'm looking at a sheet that was developed by somebody else, and they did present it as a full-time, I believe, and then they had an option for, option number 2 here says 30 hours a week, salary 30,000, benefits 60,000. So it depends what can be done, what the select board is willing to do. And I think there's enough work for a full-time person, but I also understand that money is a factor, and if we can't afford a full-time person to start out with, then a
Are there
part-time
grants
person.
available? I think I asked you this the other day. If you wrote the grant, there would be an amount of money in there to pay the person that,
There's a grant.
I've never seen those myself, but.
There's a grant there's a letter of intent that's due in January for a grant that we could apply for, that could pay, I think it's up to 30,000. However, we wouldn't know that until
after the
after,
other grants.
and you would have to budget the full amount because
Right.
you can't bank on the
I guess
grant.
I was thinking per grant, like, if you got this grant and there was a
Oh,
15%
So,
for the grant.
so what Linda's thinking
administrator.
about is,
Yeah,
so
not putting
the-
out any money.
the town has received grants in the past, and, you know, an example would be the Promise Communities
Mm-hmm.
grant that the town received last year. And Notch managed the grant
And they
for the
got
town.
paid 15,000.
I thought it was
believe.
30. I think it was 30.
Was it 30? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the rail trail, that was 15.
And then the rail trail,
Yeah. 30,
we
you're right.
the town contracted with Northwest Regional Planning and is paying them 15,000 to manage that grant. So if you think about what the town is paying to have outside people manage individual grants, if you had somebody here that was concentrating on multiple grants, they could probably pay their own position, at least.
One thing too, we gotta just consider when you're talking about getting grants, I know they sound awesome, but just this year with our budget already, we've had to budget an additional $30,000 to cover that rail trail grant that was got 20 years ago. But if we put that out to bid in 2020, we gotta have our match available. You know, I know it's only $30,000, but if you get 6-7 grants
2
going,
cents on the grand list.
it's a lot of money that really, it adjusts the tax rate quite a bit. And we're seeing that just playing around with numbers from, you know, that's just one grant.
But is this matching funds that were required for
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah, that's a 10% match as a $450,000 grant, and we've already spent and paid some, but it's about 30,000 that's left, and we have to have that money available, you know. So just keeping that in mind with someone writing grants, I know it's free money, but it still costs us something to be able to back them.
Well,
you
we
know.
have
Yes.
to borrow the 450,000, which is gonna cost us some interest. We have to pay that out of our
No.
money and then get
Correct.
reimbursed.
We have
so
to pay for
we
it
will
all
have to
up
borrow it.
front, and then we'll get the money.
That
Well,
is
After
the
the
something-
town,
job's
the town
complete.
has a revolving loan fund. I don't know what you've got for a balance in it, but you
Yes.
could borrow from that.
Yeah, good.
But there's not 450,000 in there,
It's about 150, isn't there?
not no
No,
more,
not anymore, no.
no.
We just.
But I'm
loaned-
just saying,
We
just,
just loaned
just,
120 a
you
few
know,
years ago.
if we get 2 or 3 or 4 grants going, it can be a lot of money. Like the one grant Bethany's working on, there's no match. The one for I know it's a little money, but
Right.
the street
Oh, yeah.
grant, there's no match on that. That's awesome grant, it's free money, but.
Well, the thing about grants, and this is any grant, and no matter who's in charge of it, if the grant is in your name, you're the one that's responsible
Right.
for it. And so compliance is paramount and extremely important. It's not just, yes, I can write the grant and write a pretty letter and
That's the easy
convince
part.
somebody to give me money, but then that person that's giving you the money, they're telling you, okay, I'll give you this money, but you gotta do this, this, and this, in that order.
That's right.
And
Sometimes
you
it
need
ends up-
somebody that's following,
Law.
very, very meticulous about following instructions and being careful, crossing the Ts and dotting the Is.
Right.
Somebody that's methodical and
And
detail oriented.
And if that's the same person from year to year, then you get more consistent coverage and fewer mistakes that end up costing extra money.
Rail trail.
But the rail trails, you know,
But it was started at 120,000, now it's 450.
not she's not, yeah, but
Yes,
she's,
it is. That's,
but you're getting that.
Yeah, but it's dragged on.
yes,
for
but it's
20
dragged on for
years.
20 years. It went from the cost of 120
Of a match of 12,000.
with a match to now 450 with a match of 45. Yeah. I mean,
Dragged
had it been
on.
done at 125, it'd be 20 years old and we'd be repairing it now. Paving it.
And I think, my personal feeling is, I think we all have talked about it. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick on Joe, but Joe's one of the first ones that really started saying, hey, you guys need to get someone to do this, and my thoughts were, I was thinking along the same lines.
Till you found out how much it's gonna be.
Well, but, yeah, I mean, you need
It's
to,
more than just,
I think it is, it's a great idea, but I think stepping into it slowly, for me, it would be a better way than just straight up saying, okay, we're gonna budget $80,000 for this person, and I don't know, again, finding somebody to do it part-time may be very, very hard too, like you said.
Very hard.
You know,
That's the, that was the reason that, or the con they gave for trying to hire somebody part-time, was it's more difficult to find somebody that's qualified.
There seems to be 2 or 3 towns right in this same area that's all looking for the same thing, though. I was wondering if somehow if we could share a person between 2 towns, like Swanton's looking for one and Richford's looking for
they'd
one.
be mad
Why
because they
not
were helping
combine
another
it?
town more than us.
Yeah, but would that be a conflict of interest because they'd be filling
Probably,
grants
'cause
out
you're
for
Or
Filling out grants for
It's
the
like,
same
well,
thing.
well, you're trying to
Swear to
apply
God.
for a grant that goes into a pool, and which town gets it,
Gets
you
it,
know?
yeah.
Right, and so which letter did she write better, you know?
Yeah, I see your point.
One of the things with, I've done a little bit of grant, application writing in my life, not a whole lot, but one of the things I found is that the organizations that award grants tend to really love to see collaborations
Right,
between
among-
different
yeah.
organizations. So
Right.
it might actually be a benefit if there was a grant that was being applied for that was a collaborative thing between Swanton and Richford. It would probably be easier if it was between Richford and a town that abutted Richford. But if it's a project, just like pulling something out of the air, like that involved a contiguous rail trail that was gonna go
Canoe
between the-
trail or whatever, yeah.
things like that could actually be beneficial. I know that like the grants I've written have typically been for waste districts, and so if there's a collaboration between a waste district, another waste district, and another entity, you get extra points.
Yeah, but what whoever was saying it was, if you have somebody, if you have a grant writer that's working for Richford and Swanton, and they both wanna apply for an RBEG grant, and he or she
One gets it, the other one
is
doesn't.
writing for both towns, and which one has the stronger application? And did she put as much effort into both? And I can see where there would be.
A conflict. I
Yeah.
really
If she
do.
lived in Swanton and didn't live in Richford, well, she's gonna probably try a little harder for Swanton than
Probably.
Richford, and
Yeah, or this week she's got the flu and has to get it in, and next week she didn't, you know? It's like, I think it would just be really hard to come share somebody like that with different towns, to be honest, and have it be fair to everybody who's looking upon it.
And I think that we should discuss this at a budget meeting too. I mean, I'm glad you're here to present it. I'm just saying we shouldn't do all the details tonight.
No, I don't have all the details
Right.
that I would wanna present to you.
Yeah,
Straightened out in my own head yet. But
yeah,
you've heard what I've got
right.
up there right
You've
now.
got your ideas, yeah.
Sorry.
Bless you. Oh, you're yawning. I thought you were gonna
do you have
sneeze.
anything else, Darlene, or is that?
Did I cover all 4 things?
Let's see what you have. Yeah, you talked about the school presentation, and you talked about,
Hit the
Marketing,
you hit
and the
the
housing,
yeah,
housing, you hit the
Housing.
grant writer.
job.
Okay, and
Economic.
the economic development, I haven't really gone that far with it yet. I felt
Right.
like it was important to get these other
things.
areas addressed. I did receive a grant application that looks like a fabulous opportunity, but it's something that really should be handled by somebody he has a job and is getting
Doesn't
paid
have-
for it.
Doesn't have a full-time job like you do.
Right, it's $200,000 that's available, and it's for recreational,
Saw that- I saw that,
outdoor
saw that.
recreation.
Yeah.
And it would be a perfect match for the 7 acres that's down below there.
Well, you know what I was trying to think of, a way to include the depot station in a recreation project, because I saw that same grant.
Or
you did.
that, you
Yeah.
know, and it,
You can make things into anything you want, really. I mean,
Is there a
not,
match to that?
no, I don't think so.
so, you know, the
Maybe,
thing
yeah.
about matches, you know,
You
yes.
could do the, yeah.
Sometimes you can do in kind,
Yeah.
and sometimes there are private
That will match it,
donors
yeah.
that are willing to match. For instance, at the public forum, there was a gentleman from Vermont Community Fund,
Yeah,
and he said, you know, he represents an organization that has private money. It's
Right.
not public money, so.
to match.
And they would, you know, consider, you can apply for a grant from them, and they would give it to you to match a public grant. So that's,
Yeah.
and, you know, there are other places like Rise Vermont, you know.
Yeah, you can take theirs because it's through the
So
hospital.
you could take, you know, if you could apply to Rise Vermont for
$1,000,
matching
yeah.
money, if you had a big project that you wanted to do, and say, gosh, I need $5,000, all I need is $5,000.
Yeah.
To,
And they don't charge
to
you
get
matching.
50.
You can use them as a match, yeah.
yeah.
And they love that.
They do, they
They
push.
love it because they're
yeah.
like, oh, you're gonna be able to leverage our $5,000 for
Yeah.
$50,000?
Right.
Great.
I just got another thing from them, their applications are open now, so I'm gonna apply for our piece of property down there on Troy. Cause they love us, they do, they really help us out a lot.
And there are just so many different agencies that, you know, and
Yeah,
pockets that we could tap into that we don't even know about.
right.
You know, we know about the routine ones, but there are a lot of places out there that would be
Need a
willing
big
to help.
Grant for blight removal.
You got that already, didn't you?
What, blight removal?
Yeah, all that blighted dirt down there, wasn't that blight, or was it
Well, the.
Contaminated.
contamination? Yeah, contamination.
It's a brownfield.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for me? Should I follow up at the next meeting, or should I wait a month? What I'm asking is for you to put it in the budget. Put something in the budget that would,
For the
Support.
grant writer.
not a grant writer, an economic development coordinator. And I'm specific on that because I
Okay.
don't, grant writing could be
Part of it.
part of that person's
Okay, say it again,
responsibilities.
economic,
It's right here.
okay.
And the reason that economic development is so much more than just writing the grant.
Right.
That's just the first piece.
Yeah.
So I think it's important in the title to be clear. It encompasses
Yeah.
more than just.
The grant part,
And
right,
I
is
think
easy.
we were thinking, when we had talked about it before, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, even with the select board, that person, it would be nice if they would work hand in hand with us, because there's so many things that I don't have time to take care of that would benefit Richford if they could get taken care of properly. You know what I mean? Like,
I do know
it's
what you
not
mean.
this huge $200,000 grant. It might just be one little. I can't even think of anything off the top
That's
of my
why
head.
it
but
says
just-
right on, I liked one of the statements on here, it says, something about the select board
The second page.
can initiate.
progress reports to the select board and react.
Said that the select board can initiate, projects anytime or something like that. Oh, I can't see it right now.
But you know, there's just a lot of little things that we just don't have time to take care of. And if, you know, if someone could even spend, you know, an hour or 2 or 3 a week doing just some little things that I just can't think of anything right now, but
Second bullet from the bottom.
it's been a million times that, yeah, it's just what do that. On the front page, the second one from the bottom.
Yep. By the above boards. It says select board, but it says above boards.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I think it covers all of us.
Yeah, that's not exactly what I was looking for, but I think it's there. Maybe it was on a different one, but I thought it was there. Oh, right here. No, the second paragraph down, the last sentence. The select board may assign work at any time on its own initiative. So the way this job description is written is that because it's economic development, it would, the person would collaborate and probably have a lot more contact with REAC. But it doesn't mean that the select board couldn't say, this is what we want you to do. This is your priority
I would
right
hope
now.
so, yeah.
I hope you say yes.
Sometimes something like this goes on the ballot and let
Is
the
this
voters
yours?
decide, yeah, this is all mine, those are my minutes, that's mine.
Oh, it's all yours?
Yeah.
I loaned it to you for a minute.
You have another one of these for yourself, though. You must have it on
I
your
can print one.
computer.
Yeah.
Should we call the state police back in?
Yeah, Steeler. Burglar.
Are you all set, Darlene?
I'm all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
for
Thank
coming.
There you go.
Amend and approve minutes from 12/2/19 select board meeting.
12/3. Isn't it?
No,
It says 12-2 on here.
That's the first thing
Well,
we
it
should
says
change, you got the date
12/3 on
wrong.
you had the date as December 3rd, but it's actually December 2nd.
Okay.
And then the 3 on the page.
I got that one, I just wiped that out, I saw it and I didn't.
I'll make us.
The what on the
Change it,
page?
There's a 3. You know, when I wrote your name that time, Derby, with 3 in the middle of it, did it again.
She likes these.
Well, it must be right next to the letter, because,
I'll make a motion to approve them with the 2 changes.
yeah.
There should be a change on, 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph, through with
1, 2,
So
3.
you got closing out a grant on the Combs Road, any Better Back Roads grant. Well, we're actually applying for the Better Back Roads grant, not
Oh.
closing it out.
Oh, okay.
Better Back
Oh,
Road,
that's the
applying
Combs Road, okay, as.
Corliss Road.
We
the-
closed out the Corliss. So do you want me to change Combs to Corliss, or do you want me to
You-
change?
We closed out the Combs Road and we're applying for a Better Back Roads grant on the Corliss Road.
On Corliss Road.
So you want me to leave in the Combs Road?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, on the Corliss Road, okay.
There you go.
And there's something else too.
And the date, December 2nd. Okay. And the 3. I
You
got
typed
that.
it on the 3rd.
I know, I always do that, and I think of that day instead of the other one.
You got it on the second page, second paragraph, you got currently the town pays for a holiday. If a worker is called in on the holiday, they receive time and a half for the hours worked. They receive pay for the hours worked, but they get deducted from the holiday pay.
Well, see, that was very confusing. So after work, do you want me to put, but it, which gets deducted from the holiday pay?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you get a paid holiday
Yeah.
for 8 hours and you work 4 hours, you get 4 hours deducted from your holiday pay.
I'm gonna read it back to you, make sure it's right, okay. Town gives pay for, if a worker is called in on the holiday, they receive time and a half for the hours worked, which gets deducted from holiday pay?
The holiday pay gets deducted for whatever time they work, well, the way it's presently paid or the way it's presently written. That's something we want to change.
I know, but you're gonna have to tell me how to say it, because I'm confused listening to it.
Well, like I say, we get 8 hours pay for a holiday. And if we came in and worked 4 hours, we would get 4 hours at time and a half but then you deduct 4 hours from our holiday pay.
Boy.
Wait, what?
I don't know why.
That's very hard, very hard to understand, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
It
we
seems like you're being penalized for working.
That's
Yes, you
some
are. That's
feeling
the
with
point.
whole
Yeah.
we
work
went through
group.
this at the last meeting, and we need to figure out how to
How-
rewrite it in the policy so that it's worded
Exactly.
properly, so everyone's not picking
Right.
it apart and
That's
finding this and that.
why I didn't write too much, because it got confusing as it went on. So what do you want? I'm gonna write it as you say it, and you're gonna have to,
Well, I don't know if I can actually say it.
but I can't actually write it. You can't actually say it.
Well, it doesn't really say it here. This is
I'm
how
not
it's
changing
written.
anybody's words, so. That's the way I read it, I heard it last time.
It's true what they're saying, but if you work, the hours you work overtime, if you work 4 hours on that holiday, you would get deducted 4 hours from your holiday pay. So
But you would
only
get time and a half for
4
your
hours
regular pay.
holiday pay, and then you
Very
get 4
confusing.
hours at time and a
So it
half.
wouldn't be worth it.
Right,
That's what we're trying to say.
but we need to have them work.
So we get
But you
penalized.
haven't made a decision on how you want it yet, so it's very hard to say,
Well,
because it's so confusing to everybody,
well,
because it doesn't make
They
sense.
should get their holiday paid, the 8 hours, plus
Time and a half.
plus the hours that they work.
Right.
Okay, now say what you want me to
At
say.
time and a half, is how I foresee it, yeah.
You just have to tell me how you
If
want
they
it.
had 40 hours at the end of the week,
Yeah, but if
Right.
they don't,
They
then
don't,
they're not gonna.
It says here, currently the town gives pay for a holiday, which they do.
yeah,
And it
that's
says
what
if
they-
a worker is called in for a holiday, they receive time and a half, but they really don't. They get half. They don't get time and a half.
All right, okay, wait a minute, it's time and a half for the hours worked. The word has to be however, not which. However, 4 hours are deducted from,
Holiday pay.
Maybe when we change it, Scott. and
It'd be better
I'm
to put
just
it in
saying
then.
this because it just came to my head, but it said currently the town pays for a holiday.
yeah,
Which they
put
do.
that in to make it clear.
If a worker is called in on a holiday, they will receive straight time for the hours worked.
But they won't, they'll get time and a half.
Unless they're over 40 hours.
how about if you,
Until their hours exceed 40 hours for that work week.
Right,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
say you came into work Monday, Tuesday was Christmas, and you got called in to plow that day. So you got 8 hours Monday, you got a free 8 hours on Tuesday because for the holiday. You plowed for 4 hours that day, so now you got 8, 16, you got 20 hours. You worked 8 hours on Thursday, you would have 36 hours, and you took Friday off.
Yeah,
So you're not gonna get any overtime for that
Because you didn't
week
work
because
40
you didn't
hours.
exceed 40 hours.
but we can't write all that and for every,
Yeah, but there's gotta be a way to
there's gotta
write
be a way to
that.
do it, make your decision and then write it, but what we're doing now is giving every a different opportunity. This could happen if you worked on Friday, but so you gotta have a policy before we really write it.
No, I think what Scott is, he's just saying that
It's wrong
It's
in,
wrong
it's wrong
here
in the
in the
minutes. I
minutes.
think we can just correct the minute, just say,
All right,
we
tell me
talked
what you want me to
about
say.
holiday pay and haven't made a decision on how we're gonna do it yet, and then actually make a decision and figure it out.
Okay, you're gonna have to tell me
you
exactly
can,
what
so
you
just
want.
put, Dennis reported no activity on highways. Coons mentioned the crew is not happy with the way their overtime / holiday pay was done, period, end it. And
That was what I would have done, but we
Yeah.
Yeah,
kept talking about it.
take out the currently the town
I would
gives
be happy.
the pay. If a worker is called in on a holiday, they receive time and a half. Get rid of all that.
Good,
Yeah, you can say
And then-
refer to the
except
personnel
that
policy.
we've already printed it, yeah.
Yeah, put refer to the current personnel policy and then period, and then you could put continue. There was also discussion of changing the overtime policy. Keep that all the same.
Okay, refer to,
That'd be real easy.
yes, it would have been much easier, but we had the same
And
discussion
the hard
last
part was
time.
figuring out how to word it
Yeah.
in the new policy so
Right.
that
Refer to current personnel policy. And then we'll say the board will make a decision at their next regular meeting, which is this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
So now we're gonna have to figure out how to word it anyway.
I know.
I can change that one, easy. Okay, so you're approving it with the,
With the changes.
with the changes, and I'm not even, I'll say
I'll
what they are.
second it.
Okay, got
All those
second.
in favor say aye.
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 With changes. Okay, now, you've got to make policy, because you said you would.
Well, I brought in the old personnel policy with a couple corrections and highlights. We'll get to that one.
Okay.
Do we wanna do that when we get to highways?
Yeah.
Okay, so Scott, water and sewer. Before you get going, I did wanna mention that in the minutes, we had talked about, that ordinance for Simon,
Yeah.
the ordinance for Simon and Simon, were we gonna adopt that at this
Simon and
meeting, or whatever it is, Simon's and.
That's an old show that was on TV.
That's okay.
I
You know what I
haven't,
mean.
He doesn't know what. I know, he wasn't old
Yeah, you
born
got it right
yet.
there.
I haven't
It's on my
actually
desk.
talked to Daryl about it, but I don't, is this a state statute? This,
He
no?
got it from another town. Is that the one I gave you last week?
Yeah.
He got
Yeah.
it from, look at the bottom, it should tell what town.
I personally agree
Village
with
of
that. I
Putney.
think you should.
Putney, yeah, it's Putney.
I don't know if we have authority to get people to try to unhook their connections to the sewer within 45 days. Can we actually enforce that or do anything with it?
Oh, that's what he gave.
I got a copy of this on my desk, but
I don't know, I wanted to go over it
Putney
with
can do it, we
Daryl.
can do it.
you wanna go over it with Daryl first?
Well, I kinda wanted to see what he thought.
Okay, so just-
I just think we're gonna have a hard time to try to get people,
Thanks for coming.
how are we gonna enforce
I
it?
wanted to hear
You know, I
that.
just,
Yeah. Bye-bye.
I know it's a good idea for no, you know, we don't want people hooking things into the sewer. But presently, some of these houses have been hooked in there for 100 years. How you gonna just tell them in 45 days you gotta unhook? And I just don't see how we're gonna enforce it. I think we're just passing another ordinance that we can't enforce, is my thoughts. But
That's what your guys gave you, so that's
I agree with most of it, but I think it may have to be tweaked a little.
Who
Or
gave that to you?
Daryl
Daryl. Well, he gave it to Linda.
to give to Scott.
Yeah,
It's
I
just,
just-
he just wanted the first pair, he didn't want
Right.
the bottom part.
I just haven't had a chance to touch base with him on here. I got two of them anyway.
I got one on my desk from the last meeting.
I don't know. I just wanted to talk to him about it. We can,
Just put it off till the next time.
what are your thoughts on it? Do you think we actually can enforce people to unhook their sump pumps and their cellar drains from the
If
sewer
Putney
system?
can,
I
we
think
can.
so, we own the
We own the system.
right?
Yeah, but how are you gonna know who's doing it and who's not? You gonna go in every cellar and,
No, but if
If
you
an
As
if
they
you
come
run
up.
into an issue as that issue arises,
Yeah,
Then
You know,
we
like-
enforce it at that time.
just trying to.
well, that's
think.
why I'm wondering if we should rewrite the actual bottom of it and not push the issue that they've gotta disconnect within 45 days or.
Just put they have to disconnect.
Right, if you find,
just
you
don't
know,
need
I
that.
think you may wanna
Is he bringing that up because of everything that has been
Well,
talked
it's-
about with the church down there?
well, that's part of it, the stormwater and
And just
sump
our-
pumps and stuff just overwhelming the sewer, you know?
Yeah,
It's
it's overwhelming
it's a problem
everything.
for sure.
Well, I was wondering if that was one of the reasons that he brought that up was
Well, it
because of
is.
everything we've talked about down there.
It is, yeah.
And I mean, we can all say that you're not supposed to have it hooked into the sewer because what did you say? It was been that way for how many years and
Well-
the state says you can't do it, but a lot of them are
It's
What's
the
that?
early 80s, right?
Yeah, ever since they
State
put
30 something years.
Yeah, well, the early
40
80s,
years.
the state mandated that we disconnect
Mhm.
Yeah,
anything that wasn't actually.
So I've been
from the
told,
system.
I don't really
right,
know.
because what happens is it can back up and it can back up into
Well, it
the
affects
drains
your
and into
fluid and it affects
yeah, everything.
your,
It actually
what you're
is.
dumping into the river.
Exactly.
You can watch the flows at the sewer plant,
Yeah,
and every
exactly.
time there's a big rain, the flows go sky high, so, you know, there's sump pumps and, you know, some gets taken in the manhole covers and stuff in the street, but there's a lot of it just cellar drains and perimeter drains and sump pumps all getting pumped into the sewer system. And
And
it
it's supposed to-
overwhelms
Sure.
it.
It's supposed to be
You can have
just
this
pumped
paper
out
for a
onto the
minute,
lawn and then
Scott's
absorbed
paper, so I
into
can
the
just
ground.
copy it.
Second.
We
Yeah.
put something in back then, these, in with the sewer and water bills, asking people to disconnect
Right.
and explaining to them why.
disconnect what? Sump pump?
Disconnect their sump
Okay.
pumps
Their
Perimeter
drains.
drains,
Perimeter
cellar
drains.
drains.
from the sewer system.
Unauthorized discharge of uncontaminated waters, okay.
You can keep that, Linda.
Okay, you don't need it?
No, I got one.
Okay.
You can put
Okay.
an ordinance like that in place, send a notice out with your sewer and water bills that there is an ordinance in place. And that way, as you come upon them, you can remind them,
Yeah.
Right.
and you have something in place to back it.
Mhm.
That's pretty much the
Yeah,
only
because
way
if you don't,
I
then
think maybe
you
just
can't
take
enforce
out,
it.
you know,
We should try to find a copy of there has to be something from the state that mandated every town that needs to happen.
right.
Granted, this was written up by Putney, but they might have just adopted, that might be
I thought
exactly what the
that's what
state
Daryl
said.
said. I thought
Did
that's
they
what he had
adopt?
said, that was what the state had said. When he brought it down to the store.
Good God, what is paunch manure?
Comes from a paunch.
There must be-
Paunch. It's in the last paragraph. The heck?
I think he's got that part crossed out.
Yeah.
He does.
He
I
just
just
wanted-
happened to see it.
He just wanted to
I
talk.
think it might be liquid if you're
I don't
talking about
know.
liquid, right?
Hair, flashings, entrails,
Well, they're talking about a
all the stuff you can't put in there.
slaughterhouse, but it's.
I guess so.
Ew.
Ground garbage.
But I think we'll put it off till next time. Let me talk to Daryl about it and try to do a little more digging and see if I can find a state statute or something where they're,
You say it was the 80s?
But what would you do if you had like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a building that you could refer it to.
What do you mean?
Well, say you had,
Post office.
yeah, the post office.
all the post office roof drains and everything used to go into the sewer. I don't know if they still do or not.
The
They
post
used to.
office would be a good building, but let's just say it wasn't a post office and it was some type of a building where they used a lot of water inside, or you're hosing down the floor and things of that nature.
Like a car wash.
And you got a floor drain. Well, this is saying that floor drain couldn't go into the sewer system. It would have to be pumped out
To where?
onto the ground. Well, where do you put it on the
Yeah,
ground
you
there?
can't.
It's
There's
gonna
no-
end up
Out
running
across the
down.
grass or out in a storm drain.
There's no
What
grass
if
there.
there's no grass? What if you own a
What's car
lot?
wash
That's what
do?
I'm trying to say. If you own a lot where there's no grass, you would just pump it out onto the sidewalk or the,
Yeah, it would go right down the sidewalk.
it's gonna end
into
up
the
going into
drains.
the storm
Yeah.
drain anyways.
Well, they're talking storm drain. They don't want it in the sewer.
You want it in the
Oh,
storm
okay,
drain. You
got it.
want it in the storm drain.
Right.
I got you.
Well, when they put in the car wash, they must have had to go by the new rules, so what did they do for drain there, do you know?
I don't know.
It's gotta be a
Before I
storm
had
drain,
anything to
because
do
there
with
was a thing with, it drains down
Down
the
the
road,
road.
the
They
culvert
put in,
and
what's his
stuff.
name, cellar?
Who's? Yeah,
Bonnie's.
But
Don't
it
even
could-
laugh about
it-
that.
Okay, well, my question would be, could
It
you
wasn't funny.
hook your
At the
drain?
time.
No,
Is that saying that you couldn't hook your drain in your basement to the storm drain?
No.
No, it's
sewer.
only saying the sewer.
Sewer.
Okay, that clears it up with me.
So how do we know if it's hooked to the sewer or the storm drain? I mean,
Well,
if
a lot of
I
cases,
had a
a lot
storm
of
pump.
cases you don't, like the
Yeah.
church or the parsonage down there, we don't know. It's,
don't know.
unless the sewer starts going up into their basement when
So if
there's a
anybody
huge
asks me, I
storm.
need to say it's hooked to the storm drain, right?
right.
Okay, got it.
Or pumped out over the grass onto the lawn, and
Yeah,
like surface water, you
Yeah.
know, like a rain.
Because you would think that they wouldn't even want it, if they're gonna mandate this, that they wouldn't even want those drains hooked to the storm drain, because what if you had an automotive shop
Yeah,
and you're washing the floor down, there's oil residue,
Right.
that's gonna go in the storm
Supposed to have a
drain.
grease trap that catches
Yeah,
it
that's
in.
what they're supposed to
yeah,
have.
but,
But if you have an oil tank in your cellar and the oil tank ruptures and it goes into your
Right.
cellar drain and goes out in the storm drain.
It's going in the
that's-
river.
You're right.
and that probably happens more than you
Oh,
think.
it happens for sure.
I know I had to buy a new one.
Interesting.
So you're gonna investigate,
I gotta do some more investigating.
okay,
It's all new to me.
all right.
Anything else for water and sewer, or
Not that I can think of.
Sherry?
I'm still at a standstill, winter time, ain't a lot to do on the buildings on the outside, everything else seems to be doing okay. Have a grant, waiting on that for the spring. To see if we get it or not. How's that, we're good to go?
Perfect. Linda?
As you know, the cemeteries and parks are under, they aren't even under snow.
They're not understanding.
Just want to thank Tracy Heeman for doing the park lights and the entertainment, and thanks to Rod Sanborn for the concert. I requested $1,500 from the school budget for the use of our ball fields and town halls toward the mowing, the garbage removal, and the porta potty. Haven't heard anything yet. I mean, it was not a very big amount, but I haven't heard anything. Just wanted to quickly report on the health for the month. 1 dog bite. 1 case I had to go check for rats. 2 no heats. 1 was no furnace. 1 was mold. When the firemen went to somewhere the other day, they red tagged the furnace and the landlord ripped the red tag off. So I'm dealing with that right now, and they don't have a source of heat. So I just wanted to update you that the health officer is busy. I didn't have any bed bugs this month, so maybe they're in, hibernation, yeah. But really nothing else for me.
Yeah.
Well, not much for the highway, except things are pretty quiet right now. The storms ain't too big, so I ain't been using too much salt with sand. And all the projects that, except for the Corliss Road culvert, all the projects that were supposed to be done this summer are done. Things looking good,
Except the Corliss, you said. I get Corliss.
except for the culvert of the Corliss.
I get Corliss and Combs mixed up all the time.
That it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, for police, it's really ironic that they came
I
tonight.
thought
know
so
they were
too.
coming?
I didn't know what they were coming for, but Alan had given me a note
Really?
and said that he has to be
Oh,
on
I
the
thought you
agenda.
asked them.
I just wanted to touch base about the sheriff's contract a little bit. I know it's still early, but it's good until April 30th, 2020, but we need to budget for 2020 the amount of money for the contract, and I'm just wondering if we should look at it at all as far as, I know there's $12,000 that's in there that
I
covers.
think you can play with that. That's the summer coverage.
I know, but
yeah.
that's only $12,000. I mean,
I know.
should we look at
I don't know, you heard
getting
them
a price
say.
versus five days versus 7
Oh, maybe,
days?
maybe.
You know, toy around with some different ideas and see if we could save,
Yeah,
you know.
I agree with that.
I do too.
If they go on that, yeah.
Yeah.
And we definitely,
I think we need them. I'm just wondering
I
if
do
there's a
too.
way that we
and you
can.
heard the state police say that they work together and there's been fewer calls since he
I
was
know.
up here.
Right.
So, we don't wanna
Just,
throw that
just
away.
thinking of the job that
Maybe.
Darlene brought up, it's like, if we could.
Trying to think of ways of.
Save
Well,
us
Cut
some
it
money,
all
get some
here to-
money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
make it all
and,
work.
and still almost benefit the same with the sheriff as I don't believe that we can just say we don't need him anymore, because I think we do
That'd
need
be a
him.
mistake.
so.
You could play around with Monday through Friday more than the weekend.
Yeah,
But we also have to check out what's going on with the resource officer. I don't know if that 12,000 is toward that this summer. Who pays for summer coverage when he's here all week? We must have to pay something, we used to. No?
I don't think so. I can find out
Is
for
he
sure,
going
but
down to the
I
park?
don't think so. I think
Is
that's
he down
part.
to the park?
No, the deal with this resource officer is when there's no school, and that means summer, he covers the town in the daytime. So we have
But
in the
isn't
summer.
that more or less to focus on the stuff
The
with the
kids.
kids
No,
versus?
No, it's our policeman in the summer. Burglary, fight, whatever, he's ours.
I can find that out.
Yeah, well, that's the way it was when we first started. And it was great because then we had, summer's a busy time, and we had coverage all day, and then we had coverage at 6 o'clock.
Mhm.
And so, but it wasn't just for kids, it was the whole,
Well, yeah,
Whatever
he's a police
happened.
officer, he doesn't.
well, it's
yeah,
whatever
so
happened. No, it was
right.
it was the town time. Didn't have anything to do with school, except the
Okay.
fact that it made that contract easier to absorb for the school, didn't have to pay all summer. And so when they all
He had a
negotiated it,
position
it
for
started out
full-time.
as a grant, and he added the extra for summer coverage. But it was for us,
I myself personally, I've seen. I think I can't say for sure, but I just see more of a better communication with Roger versus before, maybe.
Could be, I don't know, because I'm not
He
communicating.
seems to be very on top of things.
Yeah.
But the only thing I still don't get from them is like an updated schedule.
I know,
I think it might be my own fault because they have that portal that they created. He
Maybe
He
sent me-
wants you to go there.
he sent me an email noticing that
Yeah.
we hadn't registered on there yet, so it's on my list of things
That's
to do
what
this
he
week.
probably wants you to check.
And I'm sure I can see all that stuff on there. So I think that's my own
Yeah,
fault,
yeah.
but I just don't know. I
Well,
know
we can sit down and talk to
the
them.
contract's 100 and,
20 something more.
that's 100,
48.
give me a second, I think it's 128.
Yeah, but
Sounds
you
right.
gotta remember, we don't pay for a car or insurance or benefits or, I
No,
mean, that's
I-
all included. We
No,
don't pay
I
any
get
other
that.
money.
I'm just saying, if we could
Right.
shave it to 100 or something,
Yeah.
and, save
Cut down a day or-
$28,000 and lose them for a couple days to gain somebody in the office working on the economic development stuff for, I don't know, I'm just throwing
We
it out
can
there.
talk about it at budget time too,
If it's,
see what's happening, but
if it's an option, and we can,
I don't think we need that extra coverage either, because when Halloween, like I say, kids are too lazy now to costume trouble, but we
Not
have.
like in the day.
But when the sheriff comes up, the border patrol in Richford are driving
They're all
around,
over
that
the
just deters, I mean, they can't arrest them, but they can deter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, people aren't out doing like they used to do
No.
damage when we were kids.
yeah, I know it's like, I think it's 12,000.
It is,
I think there's an amended,
but I think that might be for
Contract is-
summer, yeah.
it's not
know.
not really written,
It's not written in that contract,
here,
it's
no.
extra. It's something Chris set up with.
I have it in my office, I
Yeah.
can go get it in a minute.
We
It's an
can, well, we can
amended
look at that
contract.
during budget too. We
Why
can't do
don't you be
anything.
brave and get rid of the sheriffs?
We don't think we wanna do that, we just, Andy just.
What did you say? I didn't hear
Why
you.
don't you be brave and get rid of the sheriffs?
You're the one that
I was
hired
gonna
him.
say, if we get rid of them, let the state
I got
police just
hired,
step in and
I
patrol.
did
them.
hire
That's what I
in
was thinking.
2006
If we got
we
2 more
stopped
days with these guys,
Halloween
see if
problem.
East Wildlife, we
Yeah.
gotta cover those days anyway. We already got border patrol.
Yeah, we got 42 border patrol agents.
They
in
cannot, and
2006
you
we had
know,
two.
they cannot do
Even they
local
can-
laws. They cannot arrest anybody, they
Neither
can
do the
stand there and
sheriffs.
hold them.
Yeah.
Well, we can
They
have a
choose
debate
not.
about that if you want.
But they choose not to, the sheriff, choose not to arrest nobody.
If we didn't have the sheriffs here, would the state police show a bigger presence?
Well, that's what I was trying to ask him.
Yeah.
But
He said he had 3 people.
obviously, he's not gonna say,
Well, He complimented them.
yes, right.
But
I
what
mean,
he did say is when they are not on duty,
They
they
come.
get the call and they come. But he did say, because we do have the sheriffs, they're getting less calls because they don't come while they're on duty.
Right.
I guess it's one of them things. If you live in town and you have to call them at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or some days, but, or 8 o'clock at night, they should be here on call.
Yes.
Dispatch should,
They
I
do,
mean,
the
they should-
sheriff.
someone should be there within 5 or 10 minutes versus maybe there wouldn't be a state cop
For an hour.
for 45 minutes. You don't know.
Yeah, or an hour.
It's a risk that you're taking for that
Well,
one.
I
Right,
will
but you
tell
got
you
border
the other
patrol, they'll be
day,
there in 5 because they beat everybody else.
the other day with that fight, the
But I think
border
if
patrol was
you-
here and so was the sheriff,
I-
both of them.
But I think if there was no sheriff, the border patrol, I think, could help out.
They'll
But I
hold
don't,
them.
but I don't think they're just gonna say,
can't.
okay, there's no more sheriff in Richford, every time we get a call, guys, we gotta go take care of
They
that.
got their
It's
own
not
job.
their
They
They
got
job.
got their own
job.
job, right, they got their own job.
You know, it's one thing to assist, or if they're on a road and there's a call on that road and they pop
Yeah.
in there, but they don't have to take care of all the paperwork and the legwork, and it's not their job.
Well, when we
Right.
just have the state police,
They got
there
their
were
own-
complaints all the time that they never came up here. This was years ago, right, John?
Yeah,
They never would respond. So then we got the sheriffs. I don't know.
I think
I
there should
wasn't
be-
here.
There should be a
Almost
happy
sounded like they
medium.
wanted to work in
Correct.
Richford now, it's like a hot spot, they wanna come here
Yeah.
and work.
Right?
We saw that, you
But
drug
then what
busted
happens,
600 people.
what
that they
happens in
had.
a year or two if that
Right.
When
goes
they
away?
finish up, yeah.
And then you're back knocking on the sheriff's door to need another
Begging.
contract with them, and I feel like there's a, like Sherry said, there's gotta be a happy medium.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I think we probably ought to keep them, but I think we can shave it a little.
That's what I
think we
think.
can
We
shave
can try.
hours
And
or
save some
something.
money and that way we can get some for other programs or other things that we wanna start up.
yeah,
Sweet,
How
nice.
we're trying to create, what I hope people understand this year when they see the budget is, we had to recreate the whole entire ambulance service with it's a lot of money.
There's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money that we didn't ever have to spend before.
Self-sufficient people.
It was self-sufficient, and it's not ever gonna be self-sufficient with the rules today
The
that
state
you have
laws.
to obey
That's
by
all it's
all the
about,
state
it's the
laws.
state laws. And we have to be
Yeah, but it
compliant.
was self-sufficient a year ago, 2 years
So
ago.
does that mean that in other communities, it's not self-sufficient either?
Mhm.
No, they pay out of their taxes.
They pay all their taxes.
Pay all kinds of
It
money.
doesn't self-sustain it.
No.
anymore.
I
Not
think
in
it
rural
does, but you
areas.
have to be in the right area.
Right, if you're in
have enough
Burlington
people.
area, yes.
With the amount of calls that we get here, and the portion of them that are Medicaid paid calls,
Or
we don't
Medicare.
get enough, we don't make enough money. Where if those calls were in an area where there wasn't as many Medicaid calls, and you can bill that call out for $800-900 and receive $800-900, that makes a
Get
big
half
difference.
that.
Or you're getting 6 calls per shift versus 1 per shift,
Yeah.
or maybe 2.
The more calls you get, the better.
So you're
Not
getting
the
more
better,
money,
but
more
the better.
revenue coming in and out.
You still have to pay those 2 people for a 12-hour shift, whether they go out on 1 call or 4
No call.
calls or no calls.
You still have to pay them.
Yeah, just like a doctor's office.
Exactly. So it's like money, 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 money. But state, we have to do it.
Yeah,
We wanna
there's a
keep our
lot of
ambulance
things that we've had to change
So
since
is-
we took it back from NOM.
Are you still getting like the same amount coming in?
Yeah, she's
Yeah, it's
done
actually a
really
little
good
bit
with the
more.
billing and
So
stuff,
you've had
yeah.
the same amount coming in or more?
It's a little bit
But
more
we're
because
paying
there was
more.
some old stuff that were,
We got
Trying to
that
get the
coming
money
in.
for.
we tried to clean up some of the bills that hadn't been paid. She spent a little
Poor Bill.
time on that, and so I think this year, it's like maybe 40,000-50,000 more than it was last year, but now that those other ones are cleaned up, I'm sure it's gonna go back to that.
Well, and our payroll is gonna be a lot more than it was before. That's where.
The payroll's a big difference.
Big difference.
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah, the
You
pay
have to pay it to
structure,
get
the-
people.
One thing that you could look at doing to recoup a little bit of money would be to ask Bethany to take a look at the bills that haven't been reimbursed yet for the rail trail grant for the last 4 years, if they're.
I think we're good with all that.
Yeah. She sent me a letter the
Yeah.
other day and, yeah,
You told me that nothing had been submitted.
Who told you?
You.
No, I said I got an email from her that said something about $12,000.
Oh,
That's what I was.
So that was
You heard
recent.
$12,000, didn't you? Yeah, that was
No.
just last week.
no.
Yeah, I
that's-
said, it said $12,000, I just didn't have it in front of me.
Oh,
Yeah, no, she's working on it.
But
That'll go into
anyways,
the rail trail.
I'm gonna move on, but with
Yeah.
police, that's where I'm at with,
Okay, police
Okay.
Thought
gonna
I'd
discuss
mention it.
budget with
Budget,
Roger,
budget, sounds good.
or contract.
I wanted to say too that I attended a meeting with John and Sherry at TD Bank. I don't remember what day it was, do you, John? Oh, hey, Joe. Joe was there.
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. Do you wanna give them a little update on that?
Okay,
While I'm
we-
touching base there, seeing as how you and Joe were the ones that took that bull by
We-
the horns.
Met with the vice president of marketing for Vermont for TD Bank. The reason they say they're closing this bank because the number of daily transactions are down. They were down 20% last year, they're down, I think he said 19%
19
again this year. But at this point, the positive thing of it, they're willing to keep the ATM machine going for the time being in that same location, but they are going to put the building up for sale. And they have no problem with another bank buying the building. And all the computer Wi-Fi stuff has just been updated this year, so he said another bank could move in with their own computers and be ready to go instantly, you know. And the building basically has been kept in good repairs over the years.
He said the only thing they were gonna take out was just their furniture and everything was
There's not that
staying.
much furniture there.
No.
It's not gonna hurt anybody.
And so we are still trying to contact other banks, see if anybody would be interested. There are information we got from the senators and representatives and from the state banking commission was try to contact local state banks first. And there's only 6 left in the state.
It's still.
People trust this one. I contacted Northfield Savings Bank and they said no, it's too far out of their area, they're not interested. I contacted Union Bank, which is out of Morrisville, and they have a lot of banks in these branches in little towns. And they said probably not, but maybe if they could buy the building and deposits. They're there. So I don't know what that means really.
I bet their
But they
deposits
said-
are pretty good.
They said they would be willing to meet with us.
I don't think they'd have to buy the deposits.
They want to though.
They want to
Want to
buy,
buy them.
yeah, they want to have the money that
There's more money
TD
here
has,
than people think.
that TD has there.
No, what you mean buy them, you mean
Accounts?
buy
buy
them
the
They want
accounts
those
from
accounts.
TD?
From
But what I'm
TD.
saying is, I don't think they would have to, because I think if a new
Everybody's
bank.
Yeah,
can
people
get
would
shipped,
just-
People are gonna switch automatically.
Yeah, I think so.
They save themselves
True.
some money.
I know, I will.
Yeah, I will in a
And
heartbeat.
then I
Town
have,
should
Well,
too.
everybody would.
Yeah.
have contacted People Trust, and Tom Gallagher said he will meet with us. We're still setting up that.
Okay.
And I also contacted the two community banks in Eastburg, Community National and which is the one out of Derby Line. And then the community is the NA, which is out of, over in New York State
York,
now.
yeah.
But I have contacted both of those banks.
Good.
So, still waiting to hear.
Okay.
Good job.
But at
Thank
least
you,
Tom
Mom.
Gallagher will meet with you.
Yes, he said he would meet with us. We're waiting for that date.
Now, what did you say, just so I get it knows, what's we're down 20%?
The
Foot traffic.
daily
Daily
transactions.
transactions down.
They don't care how much money you put in.
Well, that's what
but
I-
it's the
yeah, 'cause-
transactions.
There's more money here than,
But then he told us that their ATM
Are even down.
transactions, no, he said they were up, didn't he?
No, I think overall they're down because people use online and everything else.
Phones.
They aren't using ATMs like they did when they first
first
came out.
came out, yeah. But that's the only place they could
Put it
keep
online.
one open 24 hours. They couldn't put it in another building because nothing's open 24 hours,
No,
so.
and it has to be in a
I don't
secure
know how long
location.
they're gonna keep that building up to just keep an
Yeah.
ATM.
So,
Well, he said they would keep that ATM in there
unless they sell the
unless
building.
they sell the building.
Then we'd have another ATM.
Yeah,
And then there would be another one, and he even, well, he was talking about when that happened, then they would maybe try to find another secure place in Richford to keep
Where?
the TD Bank
One here,
ATM
because
here
they
for
have
the
a lot of
customers who
customers
didn't wanna
here.
switch.
or else they might even be willing to build a little kiosk to
Right.
put it in
Right.
somewhere.
So they officially really don't want to be out of Richford.
I think you'll find there's money up here
Yeah.
that we don't think is here. That
Exactly.
There are a lot of people with.
Well, I remember what.
They want them all to follow you to Enosburg.
When Sue Wilson was the
Mm-hmm.
manager here, she said, because she said she was surprised, I talked to her, that she was surprised they closed this, because when she was the manager here, this bank had $30 million of
Yes.
deposits there,
Yes, from, in this bank.
in this bank alone.
Well, why
It
do you
confuses
think?
me because they hired 2 positions down to the other bank in Enosburg. They got
Well,
rid of 4 up
Because they think
here,
everybody's going down there, that's why.
and they hired 2 for Enosburg.
And the guy that we met with said he was overly shocked that this happened because he was able to make the improvements that they made to that building in the last 2 years. I
Right.
mean, they paved the yard, they, you know,
So why would they do that when they were leaving, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't
They didn't
know.
know, they didn't know
Well-
it until 2 weeks prior, from what I
know.
understand.
But I'm sure the decision was probably made in,
Oh, it wasn't that.
Oh,
we
it's
were
not
somewhere
talking-
else.
here, no.
Well,
No, the
Some
locals.
bean counter somewhere in
People's
Toronto.
Trust bought that land down there when Nancy Cummings was on their board. So
I-
they had some interest in this town then.
I don't think that guy that we met with really has a say in
No.
what they do.
Oh, no, I'm sure he
He was
does.
very nice,
Yeah.
But,
polite.
yeah,
Because he said
it's a financial decision.
that he just got permission that day for him to say they would keep the ATM here.
Wow.
Yeah,
But the positive, one of the positive things, I guess, if you want to take anything positive out of the meeting, I had told him, working with Bethany on the rail trail grant, I said, well, I'm a little concerned about now, we need to get an easement. She's been trying to get an easement from TD Bank. And if you're closing this branch down, if you're trying to sell it,
Take
if you're,
forever.
you know, what's gonna that entail? So he gave me his number and then another lady's number, and he told me that they'll take care of it ASAP, and they also wouldn't accept any money from the town to buy the right of way because of the whole inconvenience of losing the bank.
Good.
So that was a,
That was worth $1,000.
yeah, and I gave all his contact stuff to Bethany already.
Good.
And she was gonna come to this meeting, but after that, she said, well, I might as well wait till the next meeting, cause
When
that'll
they
give me
sign.
time to contact them and then maybe have an even better update
Yeah,
by the next meeting.
perfect.
So,
So,
And I think it's positive that we were even hearing from these other banks.
yeah,
Yeah.
They could just ignore us. Well, People's Trust started sending out letters to people in town. Wasn't it People's Trust?
Yes, yeah.
Come to us.
They said you need
got a
a
letter.
pillar to lean on when things are crumbling.
Yeah.
We need one.
Yeah.
I don't bake anyway, so she can say we make hot bacon.
That was all I had. Recognized guests, Eric,
Just sitting here.
Darlene,
And I said my piece, thank you.
Joe.
Getting back to economic development, I know, and everyone else does it, it's gonna cost some money. However, it's gonna be a lot more costly if we don't do anything. A lot more. I think right now the budgets are up, the taxes are up, valuable property is down. You leave it up to the voters, well, that's fine. What percent of the population that eligible to vote, about what, 20%? So you're gonna leave it up to 20% of the people to determine what's gonna happen?
Well, we're only 1%
Beg your
of the
pardon?
people. I said, we're only 1% of the people here.
Well, you have a
You know.
responsibility.
Yes.
You have a
I like to
responsibility.
have
It's an
voters'
honor, but it's a responsibility goes with it.
What do you think? I wanna just ask you a question reflecting the whole thing. If the tax rate went up 25 cents, what do you think people, what would be the overall outcome of everybody in Richford?
I don't know.
Someone will be barking.
We'd have a lot of
25%?
sales
No, 25 cents.
Oh, 25.
On 100 or 1,000?
on 100,
Oh, no, on 1,000.
On 1,000.
on a,
Oh, you know, on
No,
100,
no,
no,
no.
no.
Because our taxes are based on 100 on
yes,
Yeah,
they're
on
based on
100.
100, not 1,000, no. Every
8 cents on
15,000 is a penny.
He told me,
Yes, you're right.
When we
Every
met the other
15,000 is a
day-
penny.
they said $80 per,
That was just for that one position that you were talking about.
right, so that was for 80,000.
Yeah,
So it was gonna be $80 for 80,000.
100, should be based on 100.
It's based on, it's 1 cent on every
Yes,
15,000.
It is,
Yeah.
it's 80, she said $80 on 100,000.
Okay, so if we do 250, let's say we're doing 250 on 100,000, your house worth 200,000, there's 500, and then you get another
Well, if it's-
160.
If your house
Can
is
you
worth,
afford, I don't know, I can't afford
if your house
$700,
is worth
$800
two,
more.
no, if your house is worth two, oh, you mean
It's
for,
on 100,000, that money is based on 100,000, so if your house is 200,000.
But
Then
there's
you-
not very
then
many
it
of
would-
those in
No,
there.
there's, well, in the town there
if
aren't,
it's 200,000,
The town
then you'd
there.
have to pay $160
for that one position.
for that one.
But if
On
it's,
how many cents of an increase? 5 cents?
I don't know what she was using for a, do you know what she was using for a calculation?
all I know is every
She was
$15,000
using that
is a penny.
So that's 5.5 cents for the
For 80,000.
economic
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah,
yeah.
on 100,000, that's what, is it 500? No, it's not 500,
No,
it's
50.
50.
50 bucks.
50.
Yeah.
But then if you go 25 cents more, that's, I don't know. Most people can't afford $100 more. I mean, we're doing tax sales. Think of the tax,
Alan was
think of the
saying
sales
50
we have.
to 55 cents, and he wasn't even talking the economic guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was another 100, or another 80.
Well, what's been going on for the last 15, 20 years hasn't worked, I don't think. So why are we gonna continue doing the same thing over and over and over, and our town deteriorates?
I know I was sitting in a meeting, I think it was about a year ago, and it was when the rail trail stuff, you know,
Yeah.
came up.
Mhm.
And at one point last year, the select board was contemplating
Paying them back.
paying off the 150,000 that would
And
have
we'd have
been,
nothing though, that's
that would
what
have
we
been the
said.
penalty to pay back the state so they didn't have to finish the rail trail. And apparently there was money in the budget to do it at that time.
Well, we had extra money before, yeah. But our taxes are gonna go up because we
Things
have to
change,
do
so.
everything. This changed.
I mean, you can't carry, from one year to the next year, that budget's always been, it's
We
always
weren't
gonna be
paying for the
different.
ambulance then either.
But I'm not arguing with you, Joe. I'm
Oh,
just
no, I
saying.
understand, but
I'm
I,
trying to, for myself, I get it that, okay, if I raise Joe Polander's taxes, you're probably not gonna care. Because you can see that, you know,
It's gonna
It's an
benefit.
investment. A lot of people.
things are
invest in it.
changing. Well, one thing people, you know, maybe half the people in this town are gonna be mad about is that the ambulance no longer runs itself. Well, to me, the ambulance is very important for the town. I mean, it could save any one of our lives at any minute. It's a necessity. We have to have it. This position is not a necessity. Do I think that we need someone? Yeah, I've been saying all along that I think we do, but it's just a matter of finding a happy medium to, you know, without raising.
Well, you gotta do it in steps. You can't do it all one big jump and change everything all in 1 year.
I was gonna
You
say,
just
I think
can't.
that that's probably,
Yes and a no.
probably the biggest mistake that has been made is that instead of making incremental
Exactly.
increases every year,
There
the
hasn't
select
been.
board
There
has
hasn't.
tried
There
so
hasn't been
hard
one.
and,
To
you know,
keep everything the same.
on
doesn't
a
work.
shoestring budget, that now there's not really anything.
That was the
to-
primary
Nothing
goal,
left.
keep the taxes down, keep them down, that's good.
But it's not good.
Now
That's
we're,
where we're at now.
But after
Exactly.
you get put into a position that we're in now, do we raise it 25 cents all in 1 year? Or do we say, well, we know we need to raise it, do we try to do it over 3 years and do, you know, 8, 16, 24 cents that way? Bring in little pieces of something, and that's the only reason why I suggested, you know, maybe for year one, look at a part-time
Give the
person.
voters, if you wanna talk to the voters, give the voters the choice, go this, or this.
I bet you if it meant raising their taxes, they're gonna vote it away.
Sure,
That's right.
It's gonna get voted down.
Every one of them.
it's gonna get voted down if you put it in.
Yeah.
It might vote our whole budget down if we have our taxes too high, we might lose the
Yeah,
whole budget.
Right, they might.
I mean, they don't have to vote it individually, they can take the whole budget and say, forget it.
Sure, they probably will.
Put us back on this one. Yeah, true.
That's why we kept the taxes down.
Right.
Look at the town.
What's wrong with the town?
Pardon?
What's wrong with the town?
You walk down Main Street
Yeah.
or River Street lately,
Yeah, pretty much every
nothing
day.
wrong with it, right? That's the problem here.
Well,
Nothing wrong with it.
there's some.
This-
I can't believe anybody can walk down Main Street and say there's nothing wrong.
Joe, there's problems, but there's problems everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Of
room
course
for
there is.
improvement.
This is
I
a
don't live
beautiful, these are
everywhere.
beautiful buildings as
And
you
what I,
walk
what
down.
I,
this.
you know, what I really appreciate about Richford isn't, bricks and mortar, yes, but, it's the
Town,
people.
it's
It's the people. I mean, I went to the, Christmas concert
Right.
here, that was very pleasant and enjoyable. I went to the,
Volunteer.
I went to the Santa thing at the fire
Yeah.
station on Saturday. I went to, brought my granddaughter so she could do the shopping thing
Yeah.
that the PTO had here in this building on Saturday. John Libby's festive holiday party was magnificent.
Yes, and the food was great, yeah.
Everybody should get there at least once.
All the
I don't-
kids go to the
People from out of
library,
town
sorry.
come here and think this is a beautiful town,
They-
believe it or not. I get so many people say, oh, your town, I love coming to Richford.
But there's room for improvement.
Of course there is, there's always
But
room for
every town
improvement.
has it.
But we are improving.
We are.
We're getting rid of some of the blights. We're
Yes.
getting, it's
Torn down
getting,
It's
trees.
just, it's
just-
one step at a time.
it took a long time to get kind of blighted, and now it's gonna take a long time to get it back
Yeah.
on its
It's
feet.
unfortunate. we-
It's not gonna happen overnight.
Well, you've torn down 3 things already, and we're on number 4.
Right.
We're gonna do a 4th one, so there's 4 buildings that look awful.
You know, they're turning into nice landscaping places. The only problem is we're losing the taxes off my building that was once there. That wasn't being paid, that's why we ended up with them.
Right.
But if they were
Minuscule
homeowners,
money,
you know what I
really.
mean?
That's why the town should sell some of the properties
Right.
that they own rather than just keep sitting on them.
Exactly. I'm thinking the same thing.
That one that we just bought though, that is a perfect little
Oh,
entry.
For entry to
town.
Rich, yes.
There shouldn't be a house there anyways. There's not enough room there for a house.
And
It's a
then,
deep lot.
Tiny homes are
Is it very,
popular.
I
yeah.
mean, coming in on Troy.
Yeah.
It's a deep lot, it's a nice lot, actually.
well, I'm gonna apply for a grant for that, and we're gonna try to make it a pleasant.
For
Just an
place for
entry.
benches and stuff. Just nice, pleasant
We'll
place.
think of
And a
something
place
we
for
want there.
fishing. People fish there all the time.
I'm getting the grants due in February.
I don't dislike the town, I like the town.
I know you do. That's why you have
That's why
so
I
much
came back.
right. Yes.
And I think the Sweat and Cummings building looks pretty good in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And that's just an
building's
example of what can happen.
Yes.
Right.
And they probably raised the taxes back then, I don't remember.
Wow.
I don't
I
remember
hope
either.
so.
So,
Beg your pardon?
I don't remember either. I wasn't here then.
I don't know, because they were probably tax-free for a year or two. We have a program here that
There are a lot of grants.
businesses can
Yeah, but-
go tax-free for a year, and then the next year they pay
That was a
80 or
case
20.
where-
I think at this point.
That was the
it's
case
just
with
that
them, yeah.
We don't seem to be able to keep up, you know, we seem to be slipping back further and further. Even though there is progress and we are doing things, and I do appreciate what's being done, I think it's just, it's one step forward, two steps back.
Case of not having enough irons in the fire at once. You know,
There's
the
just so
one
many
thing-
things.
I have a lot of irons in, my problem is you get so many irons in the fire and you can't take care of them all.
I know.
right.
I mean, I could if I came down here and worked 25 hours a week, but
But we all have our
there's not
things.
enough
I
time in
was
the week to do that.
interested in the recreation
Well, that's
thing,
where you gotta
so that's my
delegate.
thing. Somebody else has another thing. We don't all have to be involved in the same,
And
you
that's
know.
why REAC was born,
right,
Right.
to
That's
take the
really-
select board out of the economic
Economic,
business
yeah.
and put a director in, and they
Pay
went out,
somebody
got
for
a grant,
25
hired a
years.
director for a year and a half till the grant ran out. They didn't get the second grant.
right.
Laura was on then.
And then
So
she
they-
just stayed.
She developed as more or less the director,
Right.
and then when that grant
Actually,
went
before
down.
Laura, it was Kate Parsons.
Well, it was James Willett.
Jim
was the-
Willett.
Yeah, he was the
And
first.
then Kate Parsons was
Yeah.
working with Jim,
Right.
and then she
Eventually,
over.
the town hired her as part-time
Laura.
administrator and part-time REAC.
And I think that was like 10 years later, I don't think it was.
I don't know who
wasn't
paid her,
immediate.
but I know the town's paid her for the past,
Okay.
since I know.
You got
Anyway,
anything
yeah.
else, Joe?
No, I spent all I wanted.
Okay.
Oh, I could say plenty, but,
Go ahead.
but you're talking about how much the ambulance costs, and obviously we need it. But then you stop and think, I don't know what percentage, but I'm sure it's a huge percentage of Medicaid patients that are attracted here because of all the slum housing.
Mm-hmm.
But you
And
know,
they add to the cost.
but
You're
Medicare,
110%
John, Medicare, which is us.
Well, no, I didn't
is
say
also-
Medicare, I said
No, but I'm
Medicare.
telling you, that
Medicaid.
also doesn't pay the full amount.
Oh, I'm
We're
sure.
just, we're on the same, I mean, we both
We're
have
the same
good
thing.
supplemental insurance,
Yeah.
but that doesn't pay the whole bill either.
But you are right.
Yeah,
You're 110% right. But how do you solve that? You know what
Well,
I
I
mean?
mean,
You've got to try to
Viable.
improve the housing,
It's a
so it
complete
doesn't
double-edged
attract
sword.
those kind of people.
I liked what, I think it was Ben Doyle said at the public forum. He said, you don't want to drive people away. You want to draw people in that can help balance the economy. So
Yeah.
if you've got
Improve
a
your
lot of,
environment.
if you have a lot of people that are low income, then you want to bring, attract people that are higher income.
Right.
to
So
balance it.
to balance it out,
balance it,
so you're
yeah.
like.
That makes perfectly good sense.
Well, and there's some pretty
And-
decent people that have been on Medicaid and in the past. And
Oh
have
yeah,
never-
there's a lot
You know,
of people that are on
they're-
Medicaid and that they have
Yeah.
nice houses and they live well and they take care of their properties.
They
And
needed a step up.
so we can't just,
Children and-
right, we
And
can't
we're
just put
not
that to a.
overwhelmed, it's just we wear ours on our Main
Right.
Street, our Troy Street, and our River Street, they're right there in our forefront.
Well, that's because
Well, I've noticed
somebody
some
25
improvements
years
on
ago.
River Street with those two houses that there, one of them, they've got lights out now, the
Yeah.
apartments are starting to look good down there, they painted and stuff on River Street,
Yep. And they
or
have-
Troy Street, not River Street,
Troy.
Troy
Oh, I
Street.
know you were pointing down there.
Yeah, Troy
Troy,
Street,
down
sorry,
there.
Troy Street, I can see them from my house. So, those seem to be looking better, I mean, so when you drive down through there, it doesn't look as bad as it did, but people seem to be taking a little more pride, I don't know if it's
Look
the
at Pete
landlords.
Dussault's house, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah, so maybe the more pride everybody
like that.
takes, is just kind of spread it around. Keep the lights on everybody.
That house looks good next to the park where they put all that on the back of it. Put all
You mean the one
That looks
next
well
to,
done.
Oh, the
next
decking
to
and
John's?
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, the porch is stronger than the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that one
Right
down
next
there.
to
The apartment.
Oh, I thought you meant the decorating at the house next to you, they've got.
No,
all
no,
the
they just, they
decorations. I
built
know
a
what you
whole new
mean now.
porch on the
Yeah.
back and.
Two years of writing.
Corey Evans.
That looks pretty
Huh?
good.
2 years
Yeah.
of writing his ass.
Yeah, but it looks good and it paid off, so.
That's what it
looks
is.
good.
No, it'll probably take 10 years to get them to clean up the trash that's behind there.
No, it won't.
Can't see back there, John.
You can if you're on our new rail trail.
There we
Okay,
go.
Okay.
so you're good, John?
Oh, I'm fine, yeah.
Okay.
Dan?
Yeah, I got it. First of all, at the request of the select board, I have relocated my fifth wheel camper. It is
Good
well
job.
off the town right away. I actually put it in my old driveway. So nothing more to be said about that. Next thing about up that way is, close to the end of Nixon Road, there's a sign up there that says, private drive, no through traffic. That
Where's
would-
Nixon Road? Above you? Just
Yeah,
above?
The road he's,
The
the road he's
road
talking
behind
about.
us.
Right. The road in question.
The road in question, okay. Is
Okay,
it
well,
our
I-
road, your road? Whose road? Nixon Road.
It's the town road.
Okay, all right, just trying to get it straight.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know, and I checked with the listers, and they said that, you know, the class 4 category goes up beyond, you know, where the turnaround is. And that sign that says private drive is right by the turnaround. So if the class 4 road continues up beyond that, I think it would be appropriate for that private drive sign to be taken away.
Who put the private drive sign there? Is it a
I
town?
dare say Elton
No.
Milligan.
No, it's not a town sign.
Oh, it's not a town sign.
No.
Is it a new sign?
Is it a what?
No, I think it's been there a while,
No, I just went up there this past summer.
this summer.
But is it saying that, I haven't seen the sign, but is it positioned where it says the driveway going up to the house on the right is a private drive? Or
No.
the road going out to the Fountain Forestry
Straight up
property
Mountain Foresters.
is a private drive?
Right.
How can somebody put a sign up that says private drive on a town road?
That's not a class 4 road, is it?
It becomes a class 4 road somewhere just beyond the turnaround.
Beyond
Or
the
somewhere
turnaround?
in the turnaround. I'm not sure exactly where.
And goes all the way out to the Fountain Forestry property as a class 4 road?
Just short of it.
You know, the,
Actually,
yeah.
just short of where his property was that he sold to
Justin Shepherd.
Justin.
Justin Shepherd. So they've got private road on just where Justin had his trailer?
You know, and that road that goes up there, it's not that far up.
It's actually gated, isn't it?
Up beyond the 15 acres, there's a gate up there.
I thought it was gated right by the sign.
I thought it was too.
No,
No.
So what would be the purpose of putting up a private drive sign on something that didn't lead to anything?
Must be Elton who did that.
I just don't
Well,
get
it's
it.
just to keep nosy people out of there more than likely. You know how some people just find the road and
Yeah,
take
go
it,
dump their
let's see
trash
where
on
it
it.
goes.
Yeah. There's another one over by.
And you own
Snyder's.
property out on that road?
yep,
So in other words, you aren't supposed to get to it. You can't go through a private drive. If you went through that drive, you'd have land there. So you're being prohibited from going to your land?
well, you don't think he stopped me?
No, I know you won't, but I'm saying is that sign like,
Yeah,
so that you could say, or somebody could say you were trespassing, or is that the purpose of it? You don't know, okay.
or just to deter anybody from going up there.
Okay,
That's what I would say it's probably for, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay.
I didn't realize that was
But is
class
it-
4, to be honest with you.
And
I
that
didn't know
sign
it was.
is in the town right away, and I think it ought to go away.
sign is in the town.
And I think the person that put it up there should receive a letter that sounded just about as bad as the one that I
Oh,
received.
come on, that was a
Saying
bad
that-
letter. I wrote a very nice letter to you.
Well, saying that legal action would be taken if I'm not taken care of.
They told me to say, they,
I
Okay.
don't think I think we just, I don't know, know, we'd have to talk to him and see what he said about. I don't, send him a letter, I guess, but we could just go talk to him.
So,
If-
does Scott say that's in the town right away, that sign? You would know.
I didn't think it was class 4 road beyond the turnaround, but I don't know. I haven't ever checked it. I thought it was just a trail.
Maybe.
I did too. I did not think it was a class 4 road.
I think he's gone.
Eric's gonna check, I think, that's where he's going.
If he says it is, he's probably right.
Yeah, I mean, I-
Well, it would show on the town map whether it's
Yeah.
class 4.
You sold the land to Justin, and Justin sold the land to Elton.
Correct.
Yes,
So the road goes through what is now Elton's property.
it
So
goes,
why
it
couldn't he
goes
put the
past
sign?
his, so that his property's on one side of it, my property's on the other side of it.
It's a shared right of way, right?
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah, and
becomes.
then Fountain Forestry's on the end of it, beyond his.
So 3 people have a deeded right of way to use that road, you, Elton, and Fountain Forestry?
I don't even think he has a deeded right of way to it.
Of course it would.
Mine has a deeded right of way to it, the Fountain Forestry does.
you have anything in the office that says, no?
Well, I'd have to read the deeds.
Oh, yeah. We don't have the key to that.
And
That's not a class 4 road, is it? Isn't it just a trail?
it's just a trail, I believe.
I believe
And
so.
I believe it sounds, it just floods in as a civic issue.
Well, there's rules for trails in
Yeah,
the
but-
Orange Book.
But I don't think the town has the right to say, our road stops at that turnaround. I'm
Yes.
95% sure.
Somewhere in that turnaround, you're right.
Correct. And I don't know where the sign is, but if the sign is beyond that turnaround, then it's not in any of the towns. It's nothing to do with us. It's not in our right of way, if that's not a class 4 road, and I don't think it is.
I checked with the Lister's office, and she told me that the class 4 road
Who's she? That'd be
goes
Susan.
up beyond, the turnaround.
You're a lister.
Dan, Eric just went and checked, he's a lister.
I didn't
So-
go, I
He
didn't
didn't
go
check 'cause
check
he
the
couldn't get
roads, I
in.
went and looked at the parcel.
Oh, okay.
I know
So,
that
the
the
list-
forest lands beyond has a right of way
Right.
to it,
Fountain Forestry.
and that the road goes through the piece that,
You got land on one side, Elton's got land on the other side, that sign there is probably just, you can use that sign there to stop anybody else from going up through.
but not you.
Right.
I think we'd have to find out for sure if that is a class 4 road. If it's a class 4 road, then
there's
the
nothing to
town,
rush to judgment on.
yeah, then the town does.
Susan said it was a class 4 road,
I don't know, I wasn't privy to that conversation.
because if Susan says it, it's probably.
Do you got that, Matt? Hold on just a
I
second.
don't have it.
Excuse me for this 1 minute. I think I might have a map. Got the shin. A lot of room in here.
Yeah.
Wish a good room for a meeting.
Well,
Okay.
the table could slide
And
this
your
way.
neighbor
Better
may
not
like
go,
it
if you're
because
picking
of,
up on that
your
little
neighbor.
topic.
Cut it out.
Mike? Mike?
Way over in here somewhere.
Lucas Brook. 105. That road's coming up, so here it's made bigger.
It is right there.
Yeah, I'm looking at
But you're
it.
looking at it upside, well,
This is that would be the turnaround right there.
pretty much
Say on it?
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't need that.
Now that I'm gonna spin it back around
Darlene,
again because
have
my
you ever been
thing's
to that
down here
party
at the
before?
bottom.
No,
Well, you need to go every year because it's a good one.
it was, I
I
walked
know.
in, I was like,
Wow,
this is
it's
what
how
Christmas is
Supposed to
be
look like.
And well, it's the piano too, it
Oh,
wasn't just
The
the
Sanborn was there,
decorations,
and
we
the
had
food
music
was
going
all on the beautiful
food
table.
everywhere.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome, thank
Thanks
you.
for coming, Joe.
Have a good evening.
Have a good night, Joe.
Yeah, that is a Christmas
It
house.
made me think of my mother's.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
once you get, you're the winner, so you will get invited every year.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful,
There you go.
thank you.
Yeah, my
Oh, that's right, you were
doesn't
there to
go all
get
way
the
end
apple.
either.
I didn't even
Look
know
over
that.
here, what's this,
27.
class 4 roads here, is that one listed?
Yeah,
And then he said, well, he goes, where's the other
It's got
directors?
mileage
I'm
of
like,
class
I didn't
2
know to
and
ask.
3 and 4 roads.
I did, I
he
know.
said he
Those are
invited
three,
him, but
right?
I didn't know he
Yeah.
invited him.
Yeah, the way our map
Oh,
looks
because
in
you
there,
were
it's a
getting-
3
yeah,
to the
of course he
end.
did.
So I
That's
didn't.
what I thought.
That's what it shows here.
No, it's
Yeah.
quite a.
I think it's just a
gather.
Three to the
trail.
end.
They always
and
give
it
Paul
just
something,
stops.
so he's
Yeah.
pleased.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
go all the way
He
to
said he was
the end
relieved.
of
Relieved.
Elton's.
Relieved, thank
So it
goodness.
stops
You
at
didn't
that.
get another puzzle.
It stops
to
at the
get a book
turnaround.
instead.
That's, I'm
He
pretty
says
sure.
what he
I just don't
thinks.
know what,
Yeah.
in that circle of turnaround,
No,
just
I got
exactly
over
where it
this.
stops.
I
I
Okay.
believe he said he's in his.
I think
70s.
Bellin
Yeah.
fixed that road up
We have a
beyond
long
there
time
when
on
he
this.
had
He's
the
older
land
than-
for the sugar
he's
house
older than I
and
am.
for
He's
access
When I
to
was
the
up there
logging.
this spring, Alton was
I think it's
We have
just
some
a
good
trail,
stories.
but I'm
We
not
talked for
sure.
about an hour, yeah.
He said his
More
sister,
research.
Yeah, has
Yeah,
farm.
more
Well, we
research.
used to
She's a
use
vet.
that
She
snowmobile
went,
trail
she
long
went
time
to
ago.
vet school with
I
Heather.
don't know, I think it's class 3 right to the turnaround.
So what does that mean? Are we taking some notes here?
Well, this map shows it's class 3 road all the way to the turnaround, and then from the turnaround beyond, it's not showing it as anything.
Anything.
So the town doesn't own anything beyond that turnaround,
So
and
it
if
might
the
be a
sign
trail.
is beyond that,
Right,
then that's, if it's on the right-hand side of that road, the sign's on Elton's land. If it's on the left-hand side of the road, the sign's on Dan's
Dan's
land.
land.
So if it's on the right-hand side, then it would be Elton's choice if he wants to, it's not a town choice at that point, it's like,
Right, he
it's a
can put any
civil
sign he
matter.
wants up, right, if it's on his property. And so can you. It's on your property, right?
Okay, so who's gonna make the determination? Is it gonna be the lister's office to determine where the class 4 road ends?
On class.
Where the class 3 road ends, you mean?
No, it's obvious where the class 3 ends. I'm saying that class 4 road is beyond the class 3 road.
I don't think it's even
doesn't-
class 4
it's-
without
it's-
somebody doing some research on it. I think it's just a trail. I don't think it's class 4.
Now, do trails belong to the person who owns the land around it?
No, if it's a trail that belongs to the town, I think,
It
but,
does, because we had to throw up some of those. Bye, darling. Thank you.
Bye.
and we may have, and if we did throw it up, we may have thrown it up by default
Right,
when
because
the
we didn't
ancient
do
roads,
anything.
because we didn't do anything.
So it doesn't belong to anybody.
All I can say is the map that I have here doesn't show it as a trail, doesn't show it as a class 4, it shows it as a class 3 to the turnaround.
I bet it's a trail.
It might not even be a trail, it just could be private right away, like his
Yeah.
deed is, he's got a deeded right away out through it.
Could be.
If he has a deeded
You
right
can
away, it
go there.
doesn't matter what the sign says.
Right, you can go there anytime you want.
It's not that it's a deeded right of way as such, it is, the deed is written that the boundary is measured from the center of an Old Town Road.
The old town road.
Yeah.
Which may have been thrown up, like we said. Meaning it doesn't belong to us.
Well, it doesn't belong to us, but it's still a valid deed.
Still a valid deed, yeah.
But why would the road ever have gone beyond Queen Lil's house?
Well, somebody could have lived up there.
Could have been an ancient road, could have went
Yeah.
all the way to Timbuktu.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go anywhere.
But there was an ancient grant period of time in the 80s when the state said if you do all this work, you can
Right.
keep these open, but if you do nothing, the state's gonna throw them up.
And you guys did nothing, right? You decided not to do anything.
Oh, we did a whole bunch of
Oh,
work.
you did?
In
I was
the
busy in
lister's
the 80s, I don't
office
know what you were doing.
for another branch of
Oh.
work here that wasn't fulfilled.
Oh.
So we missed the deadline because the piece of paper wasn't filed in a timely fashion. So it just went by the wayside.
But it's not ours.
But I would say without saying that, we should look into it a little
Yeah,
further and
check
make
it
sure that it's not, and then let Dan know.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll check tomorrow.
So if the lister's office says that class 4 does go beyond the class 3, then they'll send a letter to the other person?
If it's a class 4, the only thing about a class 4 with a town doesn't have to maintain a class 4.
But nobody has the right to block passage on it.
Can't gate it with a lock. Could gate it, can't gate it with a lock.
Well, we had a similar situation a couple years ago up by Snyder's, where they lock the gate,
Right, Dunham, going to the Dunham Road.
because people were dumping trash up there. Yeah, what road was that? It was
Dunham Road?
Dunham,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Mark, Briett had a house up there?
Yeah,
Okay.
Scott
Where
Boyce
Scott
built
Boyce
his new
is.
house.
Right,
and
so
everything.
I asked the Snyder, they came in, and they just gave us a key, I don't know, he said people dump trash up there, so he gave us the key to the gate. And that's how we left that, but. I don't know.
So the final thing about that road is when you turn right onto Nixon Road off of 105, you go up a short ways, and then you either take a right to go over to, your brother's house, and Steve Shepherd's and Tony Sny's. You take a left to go up to Broderick's and Dunnigan, and up beyond where our property is. So, when you turn left, how does one road go both the same directions? If you're turning off of Nixon Road to go to a different direction,
It was always one road, and then it was relocated in the early '80s. They jumped up the hill and put a new entrance in up higher, and they hit in the center of the road, so part of it goes one way and part of it goes the other.
which,
What's the other name of the other road? What's the,
It's all the same name.
it's all Nixon Road?
right,
How's it named Nixon?
Jack Nixon used to live there.
Oh,
He's the one that
wanted the other.
donated the land to
Oh.
make the road change.
So what's your question, Dan?
as far as for clarity, particularly for like if an ambulance is going up there or a fire truck, is, okay, like the numbering of the houses on the road is like, I'll say, you turn right off of 105, well, okay, now where do I go, left or right? Okay,
Well, I know the ambulances have a book in there that tells them
Does it
whichever
circle
number
around?
they're going to.
No.
no,
Both
they
dead
don't even
ends.
circle around.
Both dead end.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. It is weird.
There's
Yeah,
a,
it's only
there's a
because
few
of the
discrepancies like that around town.
And they're all slowly being worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And those shorter roads are being worked on first, because it's easier to get them out of the way.
So, of course, the Nixon Road actually went over to where Jack Nixon actually lived. Okay? Now, where it goes up towards, Broderickson and, Dunnigan's and up to the back part of our property, that went up to Queen Will's house.
Right.
So,
Well, how far, up? Is that why the road kept going? Because it went to her house.
Right.
Yeah, that's why
She
there was a
owned-
path or whatever trail, because she was up in
But
that.
They own both those farms.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So as far as the possibility of renaming the left-hand side of Nixon Road to make it clear where the road is.
Is that in the works, Eric? To change the name of the road?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not-
Probably will be when the 911
911 gets
gets to
done.
that point where she's revamping the 911 stuff.
To me, if anything, the right-hand side of it would get changed, not the left-hand side, but
Because that's where the Nixon.
No, because you make a sharper turn to the left to go up towards Queen Lil's place.
yeah, but that was always Nixon
Yeah.
Road from there on up.
Nixon Road came up off of 105.
I know, it goes right through my brother's yard, but
Right.
there's only,
Yeah, it went straight through then.
the old Nixon Road is, well, there's only from that corner over to the end of, you'd stop plowing at my brother's, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what is that, 150 yards maybe?
I don't think it's that.
If that.
100 yards, maybe.
So, Shepherds and the next guy up are private?
Private.
Private,
Ah.
yeah. So really, the only person's house that's off from Nixon Road to the right is just my brother's, the first house.
And is that private or is that town?
It's town right to the end of his yard.
You plow it, don't you?
Yeah.
But then you've also got the two other houses up there, you know, Shepherd and Snides.
Yeah, they're private.
But that's private.
road.
So you don't plow
Right, but
that.
you still got 3 houses off that road.
I know, but they wouldn't be, they would come under a private sign, but they'd be like a driveway. They wouldn't get an E91 number. They'd get an E91 number, but to get a driveway name and you have to have 3 houses to end up with private drive numbers. It gets all very complicated, but they would get a different E91 number
You have to have 3 houses to have a private drive?
to have a different numbering system. Otherwise, it's a driveway.
So I guess it sounds like, I mean, as far as on the town, we're not interested in changing the name of the road unless it becomes a 911 issue, and when she gets to that road, that's when that would get clarified, if she needs to change it or she don't.
That's not gonna solve the problem of the sign, whether we change the name of the road or not.
No, that's not gonna solve the problem.
Because this is a separate.
Another issue.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I must have dozed off.
Okay.
You know, then as far as the 911 numbers, you know, that's work in progress, so.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, my neighbor right across the street, and even yours, I think,
It's not,
you know, your number is right.
nowhere as near
Actually,
it.
his
Yeah.
number is.
Mine's right and everybody
his
else's is
right,
wrong.
everybody else's is wrong.
Yeah.
How do you rate?
Doesn't help matters anyway.
Oh well. I'm not worried about it. The ambulance found me.
All right.
So the conclusion of this is what? We're gonna look into.
We're gonna look into
Yeah, we're
I'm
gonna
gonna
look
check
into
it out tomorrow.
the class 4 portion of it.
And if it's class 4, are we involved at all? I don't understand.
Well, probably technically, if it's a class 4 road, he probably shouldn't have a private road sign there.
And at
It's
that
not-
point, will we send him a letter?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not technically a private road if it
Okay,
is a
well,
class 4.
I'm not sending a letter unless I'm told to send it.
Right, once we find out if it's a trail or not, or
Okay.
onto the liquor.
Yeah, we can
We gotta
adjourn.
adjourn.
Oh, we have to adjourn before doing the liquor, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we,
Well, we got other stuff here we gotta.
yeah,
take care of.
we can't adjourn, yeah. We adjourn, then we go into the liquor board, but he's got more to talk about.
Okay.
On other business, Scott's got.
Well, I got this picture that the zoning people gave me of stuff down on Willow Street. I just thought we ought to be aware of it. It's probably another issue for John to take care of.
Yeah, I just got the picture today.
And that's on town property, you say?
Yeah, that's what they're telling me.
3 or 4.
3 of the 4 are. So,
Well, it looks like some of this is ready for the scrapyard day, 'cause
That's what I was wondering,
yeah,
if we should
you got
mention.
the refrigerators, the doors are off of it, and this lawnmower don't have no motor.
Looks
on
like
it.
they're just storing it there for,
Right.
I want that
waiting
golf
for
cart.
junk prices
I'm
to
gonna
go
drive
up.
around town.
Oh, right there,
Yeah,
then.
I want the golf cart, you never
That's what it looks like to me, it looks like.
I don't want
just
any
a
of it.
heap of
I got enough
metal for
junk.
somebody to bring back somewhere.
They're probably
Nice
just,
bowl,
they're probably just waiting for the prices to go up like everybody else is.
that's a nice little golf
Well,
cart.
the holding ground is town land.
Apparently the house belongs to Pothier.
Yeah, that one does, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, but is that in, behind him, or is it,
Yes,
It's,
that's why it's
You see the tree line?
the,
yeah,
Okay, the tree line and the blue tarps in front of the tree line in the back of that white house belong to Poppy.
so who's writing the letter, you or us? Is this your thing?
Well, yeah, I
But it's
just got
town
it
property.
today.
You
I'll have
stopped
to
today?
send Pothier a letter,
Yeah.
but I also should send the town a letter, cause it.
Yeah, it's our property.
It's on your property.
I know, we're gonna get fined, so we should tell Scott to go take it off our property.
well, I can't just.
I wonder if this is
Yeah,
some
it's our property.
of Rick Mason put it there.
That's what I thought.
I don't think so.
don't
Rick's
think
is
so?
all on the
Yeah,
other
Rick's
side.
is
Put it all on this side.
Rick's was all piled nicely on his truck.
I don't think any of that's Rick's.
No, I don't either.
Actually, I kind of recognize some of it from, there was in the cellar of the house that belonged to the late St. Pierre properties last week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're just pushing it over on our property now?
No, he sold to Lamos, right?
Yeah,
gotta sneak by here real quick.
yeah. So you think it's just appeared?
Some of it just
Just
appeared.
appeared?
None of these cookies taste like they were baked with,
Last year? Well, help yourself, please.
no, you know, they basically use the coconut shortening.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
From very old coconuts.
We've been trying to give them away ever since they came. So help yourself. Take one to Rosanna.
See if she can figure out what they are.
Right. Okay.
He
So,
wouldn't eat them.
she wouldn't, no.
No.
They got preservatives in them. She's more natural, right?
Yeah.
Dan, are you leaving?
Yeah.
I want to give you something before you leave.
Okay.
Is this something good? Better run.
Huh?
Better run.
Nah.
Dan don't run.
Hell.
All right. Okay, so zoning issue, trash.
Thank you all much.
Take care.
The entertainment, which one do you want?
Yeah, but you took the whole bag.
Yeah, they go by.
They go, really? At lunchtime, we don't want them, do we, Eric?
No,
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, bye, Dan. So our zoning issue, trash on town, what are we gonna, what's the upshot here? Are we gonna check out and see who it belongs to?
John's following through.
John.
Oh, John's taking care
John's
of
on the
it.
case.
Okay, John's on the case.
I guess.
Okay. Is anything else?
We still gotta discuss the personnel policies, changing the pay, I guess, or
Yeah, I know.
doing something with the pay.
Well, at least word it.
We gotta reword it in the
Well, you're gonna have
policy.
to tell
I've
me,
ed an old one here that I've kinda highlighted or circled or.
does it have anything about holiday time? Oh, you know what I need to ask you,
Talk about it in 3-4 different places.
before you get to that, are we towing cars?
I think Rick has towed at least one, that's all I'm aware of.
Okay, and
I got a call about that one.
he gets paid separately from us?
Himself, yeah.
Okay, you need to change the letter he's putting in people's cars, not to say Archie Pond on it. It says Archie, contact Archie Pond.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Archie called and said, I don't want people calling me. That was last year's or whatever year he did it. So
I
just,
don't think, must be Archie's name is on it, but I don't think it said to call Archie Pond, did it? I think it
So
said,
I don't have it. I
I think
gave
it
you-
said to call Rick Mason and
no,
not.
it's Archie's name's on it. I gave you like 4 different ones. I don't know which one you used. Whatever one had Archie's name, Archie says Rick is using it, and he hasn't been able to find him to tell him not to put that on cars.
Need to cross his
You're
name
eating
out.
those cookies?
I'm starving, I haven't even eaten any lunch.
Why do you come without eating? You need to eat.
Get done work and come here.
Oh. Well, I better bring something to eat tomorrow night if we're having a budget meeting.
2:30, right?
2:30.
Tomorrow.
I don't know what we're gonna discuss.
Buildings.
I got the
I think
fire,
I
I got
got
the
it
fireman ready, so,
Oh, sorry.
Ambulance budget.
Yeah,
we'll-
ambulance.
well, that'll take a while. So, okay, we're
he must be
discussing the
starving, he's
personnel.
eating those things.
Yeah, you must be hungry.
Who made them?
They came from Simon Operating, nobody made them,
They bring
some
them every
factory
year.
made them.
We're just not sure how old they are.
Well, they taste the same every year.
Very old.
Left over from last year.
They're very
Actually, they're
dry.
better this year than they have been any year.
Oh, come on.
One year you couldn't even bite through them.
I couldn't finish one, that's how bad they are.
They're interesting.
So what was
So we
that?
moving on, or
Yes,
we
I
talking
don't know, I'm
about
not
cookies?
sure.
Yeah,
No,
because
we're waiting for
it's
you
hard
to
right here. I'm
You're the
getting
one
by
that had
now.
other business, I'm just
We're
listening.
waiting for you to find your,
Well, I got one paragraph here, it says, if non-exempt employees are not required to work on a holiday, hours paid for the holiday will not be counted as hours worked when determining overtime compensation.
Well,
I
that's
think that
what we
not,
want.
I think that not ought to be taken out there. The holiday hours should be counted as hours worked for determining overtime
I agree with that.
compensation.
Yes.
Right.
Just take
That would
one word
that
out.
would simplify it a lot
Yeah.
when
I
it comes
agree.
to figuring the hours.
I don't understand what, read the first 3 words again.
If that's,
what does that mean?
that's hourly paid employees,
Right.
not a salary employee.
Right, they're not,
So you're non-exempt?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, I got it now.
so take out the word not, we're
So
good.
that's one thing there. That's in an old,
We'll just do that one.
Lance brought that in.
Well, see, the old one
Highway.
probably had it
He showed
right.
it.
Probably had it
Well, it's
right.
still in the newer one too.
Yeah.
And what's this one here? Non-exempt employees paid on an hourly basis will be paid at a rate of 1 1/2 times the regular hourly rate when required to work on a paid holiday and weekends regardless of the number of hours worked. And it says on that day. I think it ought to say the number of hours worked that week.
There for the
It's
week.
gotta say.
And that would simplify a lot of
Yep,
things.
there we go.
Yeah.
We'll change it and
Number
give
two
it
is
to me
good.
to copy.
What's the number third?
Oh,
Give
Another
us a-
thing we want to talk about is comp time. Are you giving comp time?
No,
Are
no,
you
we
doing?
got that
We
last
voted that
year.
out.
So what's the deal with Marie?
She doesn't get comp time. Nobody gets comp time. What do you mean
What do
the
you mean
deal
with
with
you,
Marie?
Marie?
She's like you guys.
Yeah, but she's working 4 days a week, and if she has to come in and work on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday to clear the walks,
She just
No.
takes
she
off.
takes time off during the week.
Why isn't she working 5 days a week, Sherry?
She was on a 4-day schedule that we agreed upon when we hired her. She asked if she
I
could
didn't even
stay
know
with
that.
that. It was when we hired her.
So is it 10 days a week, 10 hours a day?
10 hours a day.
Oh, I didn't know
4
that.
days a week, but she needs to come in on a Saturday or a Friday to do whatever, those amount of hours, she just doesn't come in for one of the days, she takes
That's
those hours
comp
off
time.
her week.
That's comp time, which we don't do.
Basically.
In the same week.
Huh?
It's not
Well,
comp
it's-
time.
Why isn't it comp time?
It's
Take it a
swapping
day.
time.
Swapping.
We've asked to do that for quite a few years, the
Well,
guys
we
at
do
the highway.
I didn't know she was doing that. I had no idea.
Rather than getting so much overtime, we said, well, rather than take so much
Well,
overtime, if
she
we got
can't
a
wax
day,
the
we'll take a day in
floors.
the summer.
This is how it starts, she
But
can't
she's
wax
taking
the
it on the
floors.
same work, on the
Yes.
same pay.
It's same pay day,
Week.
yes. If she has to wax the floors at the post office, cause she can only do it on Saturday, she
Right.
works 6 hours on one day during the week and works that 4 hours on Saturday.
But Sherry,
Same 40.
that only happens a couple times a year.
Right, but if
So
something
she should
comes
be
in like that.
Working
So-
5 days a week. And then the day that she,
8
the
hours.
one day, 8 hour, then the one day she has to wax, take a day, that's the way they used to do it. I'm waxing on Saturday, so I'm taking Wednesday off.
When we hired her though, she had asked to
She
be on that
asked-
4 10-hour work
Really?
week,
And we all agreed upon
Jason,
like
because
guys.
at the time they were still together.
In the winter time, it could be 8 hours, that way,
And then-
if it snows on a Friday, she's there.
Well, what about Saturday or Sunday though?
She's supposed to be, yeah.
Well, then it'd be over.
I didn't know she was working for, I don't know why I didn't get that.
But that's not really comp time though,
It's
because
not
we're
comp
not
time.
storing, the way that we had talked about
Well,
doing
you
it
are, because
was.
you're taking,
You are.
if it's Friday or Saturday, you gotta wait till next week before you can swap hours.
For once, I agree with Scott.
For once, wow.
Yeah, but
For
her,
once.
what's the work schedule? What day do you guys start on?
Sunday,
Is it Sunday?
I think, Sunday to,
Well,
Is it Sunday to Sunday, or is it Saturday to Saturday, or is
my
it Monday to
timesheets start
Monday?
on Sunday, so I'm saying Sunday to,
Okay, so Sunday morning your timesheet starts.
well, that's when our timesheet, I don't know what she has for timesheet.
Okay.
you want some
Well, that's
water,
whatever his
Andy?
pay week
Wash
was.
that down.
That's what I'm asking. Usually when somebody does payroll.
Sunday
once
to
a week,
Sunday.
So it's Sunday to Sunday. So if she works a Sunday, has to come in and do something, she can take the hours off that Monday through Thursday.
But you didn't
This is
agree to
a pay
any
week.
money, right? No
No,
overtime.
it's no overtime.
I didn't know she did that.
She's basically just swapping hours or storing hours and taking them off, but.
Yeah, yeah, it's not
Fair is
comp
fair,
time.
we've
She's-
asked to do that and we could never do it, so
No.
I was just curious.
I didn't know she did it.
Well, when we sat here and hired her, that's what we all talked about. And she asked us about it in her interview and stuff like that, that she asked about the 4 10-hour days. And then we talked about the shoveling in
I
the winter
remember that, but I
time.
don't remember
It was,
Yeah, I
figuring
know. I
the
don't
shoveling
remember
on the
deal.
weekends, but.
yeah, she don't really shovel on like Sundays and stuff like that. It's Monday through Fridays when the shovel
Well,
goes
she
Should be
on.
needs to
Saturday
be
morning.
Saturday too,
Saturday morning.
the post office, because
Right,
they're open.
so they're open, so if she has to come in on a Saturday morning, she just takes the hours off.
Cause her job,
And she
her
don't get the
position,
overtime.
her position ain't like the town where, no, they have to come in to plow snow. even
Right,
though
and they get
are-
overtime, they get time and a half.
Right, her,
She just basically is getting straight
Just-
time and
just-
she
Takes a
just,
day.
and
40
she just
hours.
takes the extra 4 hours or 2 hours
Because
or
I know
whatever it is.
salaried people, we didn't do comp time anymore.
No, they don't want to run into a mess like you did.
Yeah, but
with
she's not really saving any
Right.
time.
You're not
When we
storing
stopped
it.
She's not storing
Right.
anything, and we're not giving her anything
Same
extra.
week.
Okay.
We're swapping it out. I
Do it
mean,
any
it's
way you
not-
want, I just didn't know she.
It's the same thing I do at the store, it's no different.
But I thought you had her cleaning the station on Fridays.
No, she goes down there a couple hours on Thursdays, or on a Monday.
thought it was
It's
Friday.
whatever day she can squeeze in, when she's got everything here
Okay.
taken care of, and she's got everything there, then she'll go down there for a couple hours.
And
And
I
that's
mean,
it.
I don't know, I mean, it is her job title and description, some different than the town
yeah,
highway
she
job.
doesn't
Right,
have
you
to
guys
come
are
out
on
like you do.
overtime, and you guys go for shoveling and plowing and all that stuff, so.
Well, you could come in and work 8 hours on a Saturday and 8 hours on a Sunday plowing, where, I mean, she's only
Exactly.
working 2 hours or
Yeah.
an hour.
Would it make sense if on Saturday and Sunday that if these need to be shoveled, that one of you guys could just shovel these 2 walks? Or
Well,
would
she's
you-
leaving for a week
I know,
off
to Florida.
over Christmas, or
Right.
after Christmas, so I've made arrangements with
Showing
Alan
Tuesday.
that does the sidewalks, he's supposed to do her shoveling.
Okay.
Good.
I would just thought maybe even all year round, if it was easier than to have her come in for 2 hours, if one of your guys could just,
Well, I'm thinking
Shovel
with the shoveling
steps,
is probably
just the
about
steps.
4 hours, I'm thinking usually is what it is.
yeah,
would
but
say
on
4
Saturday
hours.
and Sunday, you'd only have to do the steps.
Right.
You would
Yeah,
have to do
instead
it
of
then.
having
You would have
her
to do it
come in
all.
and even worry about working
Right.
comp time,
Right.
it's not like we're taking anything away from her.
No, we're not.
She's not getting paid
Right.
overtime.
We'd just be adding to your.
Just give it to Alan, and you
Right.
wouldn't be paying Alan overtime
Who's
either,
Alan?
Right.
generally, because he's working under 40 hours anyways.
Alan Boylan?
As far as shoveling the steps, that could be done by the guy who plows the sidewalks.
Yeah, that's what Alan,
Yeah,
right?
is that who's doing it?
Yeah, Alan Boylan.
I mean, it wouldn't take that long.
No.
It's, cause it's not the driveway and the library, it's just.
Right.
Well, it must be an hour or more, probably.
Yeah, I'd say 2-3 hours. I'm
You may
gonna
have to
say,
do it
between the
twice,
buildings. Yeah.
But it seems like it'd be easier than having her
Well, it
come in and
kinda-
then taking a day off.
It kind of solves it, I guess.
If you wanna do it, it's up to.
Keeps it fair.
Well, I don't mind doing it, it's just whether Alan
Yeah.
wants to do it.
I think she did like that too, where she won't have to worry about coming in
Cause
either.
she's in Sheldon now.
Yeah,
Gonna have to come all the way up
exactly.
there. And maybe 2 times a day.
Yep.
Sounds easier, I don't know.
Well, it'd be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, maybe she doesn't care about the 10-hour days anymore either. She could renegotiate that and do.
Well, I think she wants the 10-hour days
She
still.
Because she has
I
2 days off a
believe,
week.
Right,
yeah.
right.
But there was just friction at the town garage when they heard that was happening, and,
They hear that.
oh
I mean, I
yeah.
didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Trying to keep people happy, it's quite a
You can't
job.
keep them all happy.
Oh, I know.
Well, we're not logging comp time hours.
No,
That's
we're
what we
not.
said we
Yeah,
were.
not
We aren't
even a
doing that
dime.
because we
No.
voted that out. Yeah.
No, that's not happening.
She's more or less doing the town a favor to do that, because most people wouldn't do that.
No.
Most
No.
people would say, no, I'll come in on Friday and Saturday and
Just to
Sunday,
get
but
the
you're paying me
overtime.
overtime.
Overtime to do
Yeah.
it, right.
Just to get the
You
overtime.
know, she's coming in,
She's excellent.
she's coming in for
She's doing a
nothing.
good job. She's doing a really good job. I have no
The
complaints.
place is clean.
And we're not comping the time because we're not saving it and building it to
Right.
hundreds of hours.
And she's not gonna be able to, she wouldn't be able to collect it, like if she didn't
No.
take it, she couldn't collect money for it
No.
because we outlawed that, so.
Right, exactly.
She's not gaining anything.
She's just-
by it. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. And she has
So
to
where are
do
we
something
leaving
special.
it at? Are you gonna talk to her and find out if she doesn't wanna do it on the weekends, and then tell
Well,
Scott, and then
I'll
you'll
call
have to have Alan do it?
She'll be in tomorrow.
I know Alan agreed to do it while she's on vacation,
Yeah.
and maybe I can just have him do it on the normal.
Well, it adds his hours, doesn't it? It adds to his hours.
Well,
He's
we
getting
only
paid.
got like 3 hours this last week doing sidewalks.
Well, so
Perfect.
might want the extra,
Oh, I mean, yeah, he was begging
might
for
work
hours.
out good.
Yeah, I'll text her tomorrow.
So you're gonna rewrite that how you think it should be, give Linda a
Well, I
copy
can
of
get
it?
together with Linda and we can sit down and put our heads together if you wanna leave
Okay.
us.
What, alone
You
in a room?
basically wanna pay us, what it amounts to is time you pay the holiday, and then you work the overtime is gonna be, well, the whole thing's gonna be double time and a half is what it amounts to, right?
Double
Time you're getting a paid holiday, and then you work, say,
Intense.
4
Oh, yeah.
hours on top of that paid holiday. It's gonna amount to double time and a half.
As long as you work a full week, right?
Well,
That's what you gotta
No,
get in there. is
as
fully-
long as you work the 8 hours, or,
well, see, it doesn't fall as you worked an 88,
Right.
a 40-hour week, because the holiday doesn't count as hours worked, which is the confusion part.
Why
I think the
can't it?
holiday ought to count as
Yes.
hours
Yeah, it's a
worked.
free 8 hours.
Right,
towards your
it ought to count as hours
If
worked.
you have to come in
To
on
clarify and simplify it.
Isn't
Yeah.
that what you, was that what?
If Christmas is on a
That's- yeah, that's
Tuesday,
what
and you
this-
have to come in
Yeah,
and
I
plow
would
for
say that.
8 hours
Right.
that
You get
day.
16 hours. Or no, you get
You,
8 and then you get,
when you're driving the truck in your head, you can tell yourself, well, I'm making double time and a
Right.
half right now,
Right.
but you're really not. You're getting your free 8 hours in straight time, because if, say you were sick Thursday and Friday,
right.
you wouldn't have,
You couldn't
wouldn't
add it up
have
till the
40
end of the
hours.
week. You couldn't even
Well, that's what,
figure
another
it
thing
till
we
the
gotta
end.
clarify, are we gonna do a holiday as counted towards timed work? And vacation as timed work? And sick days as time work? And what else is there? There's other things,
Did you ask Alan anything about this?
not really, no.
He might have a
I was
different,
gonna say maybe vacation,
not sick days.
well, I was gonna say sick days, personal days, where are you gonna draw the line here? I can see holidays for sure. Holidays and weekends, I think you ought to get overtime no matter what, my opinion. I
Well,
think
if
if
they
you're
come
going
and work
home,
for
if
you.
you're home for Christmas and you're trying to do your thing and
I
all of
can
a
see
sudden
ti- I can
you gotta
see
go in
that.
and work 4 hours, I think you should
Time and a
get your
half.
Your 8
4
plus
hours
time and a
over.
half, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
you
if
get
on
the
a
time and
Saturday
a
or
half.
Sunday you go in and work, I think you ought to get time and a half if you work 2 hours that week, my opinion.
But if they're on
You're
the same
working
time,
Saturday and Sunday, taking your time to go in and plow snow, I think you ought to
Well,
at least get
a
compensated.
lot of places,
for it.
if you
First of
take a
all,
week's
them 2 days, you're
vacation,
probably on overtime anyways.
if you take a week's
would be if
vacation,
you
5
worked
days
all
off, but then you
right.
get called in on that Saturday or Sunday to work, and it's on that same pay week, you just only use 4 days vacation instead of 5. So you still saving a
We're to the
vacation
point
day.
where I had to take 3
That's what
days
we do.
vacation last week. So
Yeah.
that's screwing me out all my overtime that I got.
Because you gotta use it by January, is that why?
Right. Right. I'm to the point
You guys
where
don't
I'm
get
not
paid-
gonna
they
take
don't
any
get paid out for their
any
vacation if they
vacation
don't
in
use
the
it?
winter, I'm gonna take it in the summer, so it's
It
not a
doesn't
problem.
roll over, no,
You don't get paid out for it? You guys don't get paid out for your vacation if you don't use it?
Apparently
no,
not.
apparently
You
not.
either
Well, I think
lose
that's really
it,
stupid.
use it or lose it.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid, especially for plowers. We all get paid out at our store.
Who made this personnel policy?
I don't
I've
know.
been forever, I don't know, I didn't live here all these years.
I really don't think you guys should lose it. I think you should get paid out for it.
Well,
if
that's
you
why
don't
we're
use
all
it.
scrambling, trying to get vacation
Well, you're
this
gonna
last.
have
Oh, and it's
Couple
hard in the
weeks.
winter time.
But you're gonna have to change the policy if you do that, you're gonna have to start figuring it out before January.
I think that's
So,
something.
Well, you're
that
gonna
we
have
should-
to either, we're all gonna have to get together and do it, or you're gonna have to let Linda and me and Alan sit down and be responsible for it or something.
But you're also, you're in a little bit of a pickle, right? Because we changed it, the Julian date is January
Well,
first,
that's-
not your
yeah.
start date, so
That's
people are
why
scrambling,
everybody's
trying to use
scrambling.
their
Yeah,
time.
well, that's
In
right.
a normal year, that probably wouldn't happen.
Right,
Right.
that's part of the issue, yeah.
Now you're gonna have a full
Yeah, full
year
year.
Full cycle to take.
to take your time whenever you want to.
Right, but sometimes it's still harder said than done. I get 4 weeks and I usually get paid out for at least 2.5 weeks every year.
Yeah, but in a
'Cause
lot,
I don't
they
get
don't do
taken.
that in a lot of jobs though, That's-
like-
you're lucky because
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's
my
hard.
granddaughter's
well,
an
it's
accountant,
hard.
she's gotta take it by January.
Well, it's hard even for budgeting, say,
Yeah.
he gets 4 weeks and
Right.
they say there's 10 weeks vacation
Yeah,
over
true.
there
Good point.
and nobody takes it.
And pay out
At
another 10
$700 a week, that's $7,000 or $8,000 that you have to cushion in the budget to cover that.
But you have it in your budget for them, if they take it, when you can take it, I mean, I know this is weird,
Right,
but
but you're just losing performance, you're
Yes,
not
you're
changing
losing-
your
yes.
budget figures, I
Right.
mean, you're just
Right.
losing
Losing
performance.
See, with
on it.
us, with the store, we have to have somebody cover our hours anyway. So no matter what, they're paying somebody.
Right.
So you guys don't have an extra person coming and covering your vacation week.
well, sometimes you can
Well, we
get away with
Right.
it.
don't usually try to take vacation when you
At the same time, so
gotta
you
work,
kind of
if
cover
plowing
each
or
other, yeah.
whatever, you know,
You
we,
take it at slower times. That'd be the difference why we get paid out. No matter what, they have to pay somebody to be there to cover me, so. That'd be the difference.
I don't know, I could hold my sick days over, just sick days though. So,
yes, that's it.
what are we
and,
gonna do? What's the upshot? Just say we discussed it?
That's a problem. It keeps getting burned. Back
Probably
burner.
better get it straightened out before Christmas, cause nobody's gonna come in and plow Christmas,
Yeah,
I can
I'm
tell you
not
that.
changing the minutes next week because I wrote it down wrong either, so you tell me what to write.
But again, though, I mean, they got hired under that personnel policy.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
for
know.
them to not come in and plow, it's not like we changed the rules last
Right.
week.
Exactly.
And
It's
it
been the
says it
same
in there.
way since the
Yeah.
first day that they said that they wanted the job and they're gonna, so for them to not come in and plow on Christmas, well, they're not really doing their job.
No,
To be
because it
honest, I don't
says-
think we were always been getting paid that way. I think it has happened just shortly. I've never.
You're talking about the
actually-
pay, not the requirement that they come in, because they should know that they're on call if it
Right,
snows.
right.
No,
You're
but
just
they-
talking about the pay, the way the
No,
pay has changed.
Because all the drivers are saying, we're not gonna come in and work on a holiday because we're not getting paid for it like we thought we were. Well, no one's changed nothing.
Nobody's changed anything. It's
Well,
been
Well,
that way
that's what I'm
since
saying, I think it has changed, cause I
The way
think,
of paying has made.
I think we always got paid for a holiday, 8 hours, and then if
Yeah.
we worked 4 hours on top of that, we got 4.5 or 4
For
hours. That's
time and a
time
half.
What I think when Sheila was here, I don't think their total at the bottom of their check changed. But I think the way that
calculated.
Kylie has, I'm not saying, I don't think Kylie's done anything wrong.
No.
But I think she's putting it in the computer in a different way. So it's spelling it out differently on paper. Hadn't
they're
it
still
spelled it
getting
out
money.
differently, the total dollar amount at the end of that week wouldn't have been any different.
Right.
If Kylie entered it or Sheila entered it, I think they're just entering them in different
So
ways.
you think that it's not a difference in pay? You think
I don't think it's a difference in pay at the end of the week.
it's just the way it's
I
said?
think it's the way
I
they're
think
reading
what,
it.
what shows up odd is you work 60-hour week and you get a paycheck and it shows 32 regular hours and you got 20 hours overtime or something. Well, you ought to at least have 40 hours
Yeah,
regular
yeah,
time.
right.
That's what red flags are, but how'd I get 32 hours? I work 60.
Well, isn't that what changed? The policy didn't say you got overtime after 40 hours, that we decided that last week, that it needed to say 40 hours and not daily, but
We
weekly?
didn't decide anything. That's what we
was-
discussed, thinking we ought to do that.
But wasn't it
Yeah, just-
daily before? Maybe that's the difference, and now we want it weekly after
I don't
40
think that
hours.
actually changes anything a whole lot, because if you work 60 hours a week, more than likely you're working.
20 of them's overtime.
You're working all 5 days.
That's true.
But I guess my point is why can they say, why is it fair that you're gonna come in on Christmas and plow or on a holiday, but all the people, you're the foreman and all the people who work underneath you are saying that they're not gonna come in and plow?
That's
their
kind of what
job.
they're saying. I'm dedicated. I know I gotta
Yeah, I
come
know,
in and
but that's-
plow. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, I know, but it's their job.
I hired on to do the job. That's what I'm
We
gonna do.
can't have roads not plowed just because it's Christmas. We could have 100 accidents if it's a nicey Christmas
Right,
day,
right, yeah.
and they're not gonna come in?
Well, don't sound like they want them.
Well, that will not go over well. I mean, you could have some dangerous situations here.
Thank God we're not using.
What do you think? You're the,
You're the road
Road
foreman,
commissioner.
Yeah, the road commissioner.
I say, they,
I mean, I get it that there's a hiccup in the policy,
Right.
but it still doesn't mean that they can just not come and do
Stay out.
their job.
They sign on.
I think all they're asking is get paid an 8-hour holiday, and if they work 4 hours on top of that holiday, they get 4 hours at time and a half.
Well, that makes
On
sense.
top of the regular 8 hours of
Yeah.
holiday pay.
That
Right,
makes
I
Which
sense.
I don't think is a lot to ask. but-
I agree with that.
Yeah, me too. Just change that, take that knot out, or whatever it was you were gonna do.
Yeah.
It's Kylie or whoever you're gonna have to talk to about
That
how it's
that holiday pay should be automatically 8 hours. Then whatever hours they
Straight
work on,
time.
that's overtime on,
Right.
for,
done. Anything over that is overtime.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm not arguing it. I'm just getting it clear in my head, and I'm gonna write it out on paper.
Good.
Okay.
Could be him. Good, I'm gonna go pee.
Okay.
Now, does that count for vacation too? Seeing everybody trying to cram vacation in here?
I want to clarify I gotta put it on paper.
You want to write this statement down, just take that word not out.
Well, that's kind of the easiest way to do it.
Yeah,
And
right
I think
there.
it would solve quite a lot of the confusion.
Okay. So
I'm kind of a simple person.
Actually,
I like things simple.
So Monday you worked 8 hours. Okay. Tuesday
I was on
is
vacation.
Christmas.
No?
Okay? Tuesday's Christmas, and you're guaranteed to get paid 8 hours for that day. And then,
If you don't come in and plow.
Yeah.
and
Okay,
If
then,
you come in and
So
plow and work 4 hours, they're gonna take 4 hours away from that and pay you 4 hours.
well, let me
No,
finish.
we finished that
Let me
anyway.
finish it the way I'm
He's
saying it.
processing, he's
Okay.
processing.
So that's holiday pay. And then you came in and you actually worked 4 hours that day. Okay, so now you got 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 hours. Wednesday, you worked 8 hours. Thursday, you worked 8 hours. And you took Friday off. Okay, so you got 8, 16, 24, 32. You got 36 hours. Is all you actually worked that week. So why should those 4 hours be overtime?
Because it was Christmas, and I think if you're taking time off to come in and work, you
Because
ought
it's a
to at least get
holiday.
time and a half.
I would say that
That's my
was,
opinion.
I agree with that with the time and a half on the holiday,
Yes.
but you'd still have to put some more hours in on to get a 40-hour week.
Like Gary Atherton
So
said,
you're gonna get paid for 8, 16, 24, you're gonna get paid 32, no, you're gonna
Regular
get, yeah, you're gonna
hours.
get paid 32 hours straight
Straight time.
time. And then you're gonna get paid 4 hours time and a half.
Right, and I would do that on holidays, I would not do that on sick time or on vacation days. You'd have to be over 40, and I wouldn't count that, I would count the vacation as the 8 hours worked.
so in
like
other
sick
words,
time
basically
and-
holidays are gonna be counted as days worked.
Yeah.
But vacation and personal and sick aren't.
I would vacation because you earned them, you acquired them, or cured them, I think is the
Can
word.
you take anything over? Do you take sick days over, or vacation? Nothing
You
goes?
can carry over sick days,
So there, that's why I wouldn't count
No.
those.
but you can't carry over your personal.
The reason why I write it out like that is because the last time we talked, we said that we wanted to make it anything over 40 hours was
Yeah.
time and a half.
Yep.
And now it's not everything over 40 because that week there, you actually only had
32,
32 hours.
right.
But you're counting your holiday. as
That's
that.
counting the holiday.
I'm cut.
He's
Why are
saying
you
if they,
figuring only 32?
Because
you
you
have
took
a
Friday,
Friday.
you took Friday off.
Oh, the invisible
So
guy
you
took
work,
Friday.
you work
Yes.
8
But
hours
this
for
theoretically should be 8 hours vacation or 8 hours sick or
Well,
8
yeah,
hours.
Right, they
something.
have
Why would
to
he
put
take it
some-
off?
they have to
if
put a
he's sick
number
or on
in there.
vacation?
Like Gary Atherton says, in Enosburg, you get paid for at least 40 hours every week. You either take sick, you take
Yeah.
vacation, you
Exactly.
take something. Because every week you get at least 40 hours.
You can't just
The
take a
way it
day
was
off
in
without it counting.
Village of Enosburg.
Well, I get that. I'm saying.
So they would have to use a
So yeah,
vacation
if
day
they
or sick
wanted to
day.
use 8 hours of vacation pay here,
That puts
so
them over
that
40.
gets them, so that these 4 are gonna be time and a half.
Right,
Which, I agree with that, but what if someone doesn't have any vacation time and they just call,
They don't get paid.
they call out sick.
If you don't have your vacation time or your sick
Right.
time,
You don't get paid for that Friday, but he's thinking they should only
but
get
you're
paid
gonna
straight
get,
time.
you're gonna get paid 4 hours overtime for that day you plowed.
Because it was
On a holiday.
Because it was on a holiday,
Right.
but you called in sick on Friday and you didn't have any sick time
time
or any
left.
holiday time left. But essentially, you're still getting paid the same paycheck you would get
right,
on a 40-hour week because those 4 hours are time and a half.
right.
But if you state it that way, that you have to, yeah, it makes sense. And 9 times out of 10, someone's going to use regular vacation time or whatever
Or
on that
sick
day,
day or
and that
something.
evens it out.
Gives it-
Because now those are 4 hours time and a half.
Yep,
When I worked at Blue Seal, you did not get overtime until you were over 40 hours.
That's
Which
most
in
places.
our head, yeah, we come in and say I was working on July 4th. Well, in my head, I knew I was getting paid time and a half because I was gonna work the rest of the week or take a vacation
Right.
day. And so really you always are, but technically it doesn't start counting until you're over 40.
right.
No, I don't know how to word it that way, but I'm
I know, that's the problem, we all know the same
like
thing, but we're like, the wording in the policy is like,
But I will not write it down unless somebody tells me exactly what they want. I'm not gonna pick up that pen. Unless you wanna,
so you just have to basically say
Can't
they
put it
have
off.
to
We
have
aren't
40
meeting
hours
till
in to get
January.
time and a half. on any holiday or anything like that, but they'd have to use a vacation day or a sick day or whatever to make that
But
4
then in
days
turn,
fine.
they turn around and say your holiday and your sick pay and your personal days don't count as hours worked. So then you still don't have 40 hours, the way the policy's written.
Yeah, that's why we need to rewrite the policy.
Well,
Vacation.
How many
you've heard
pages
it.
in the policy revert back to this stuff? One page?
There's
How many
quite a-
times
Well,
you
it talks
read it?
about pay in 2 or 3 different sections.
we changed it all to get rid of the comp time, right?
You got
Yes.
That's
vacation
when we
leave, you
changed
got
it.
holiday leave.
Yeah, that's all we changed though, was the comp time that I remember.
Yep,
It was last year, right?
yep, we just changed the comp time.
Because we were paying way too much comp time.
Yeah, and then we weren't supposed to, because apparently it was supposed to end a lot sooner than it did.
So basically, I got a question for
Grandfather
you.
Yeah.
in, I guess.
Okay.
So on this,
It's not your fault.
on your check
We took care
stub,
of it though.
Yes, it
Yes,
should
we took
read-
care
That's what
of
I'm
it.
saying.
Yes.
You guys took care of it before we started.
Yes.
24,
Thank you.
should read 24 hours worked.
Yep,
It should read 8 hours vacation.
No,
Should read
our
8
paychecks don't
About a
show any
hours.
vacation or show any holidays.
what's it show?
You gotta come up and ask how many
But I'm just-
vacation days you have. Well, nothing's kept track of on your paycheck.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Yes.
with this scenario right here,
I know, and it's right on the.
your stub
The bill.
should say you worked 24 hours straight time, you took 8 hours vacation pay, you took 8 hours holiday,
Yep. And then 4 hours time and a half.
and you had 4 hours overtime.
Andy,
So if your guys worked this right here on Christmas, if that was what they worked for hours, and that's what their check stub showed, would any of them be mad?
They wouldn't show that.
But would anyone be mad though if
Theoretically,
that?
if it showed that,
I'm trying.
would they be mad?
Well, I don't know, 'cause it
Sarah
wouldn't
had a
show it
good
that way.
idea.
It would show, if I,
If we had it, I'm just saying, if that is how it was read to them,
no,
is that what
I
they're?
would think they would be happy, cause they can see what they're getting paid there.
I think we need to figure.
As it
out
is
how to
now,
do
you
that.
can't tell what you're getting paid with your check,
If we're
really.
different, yeah.
Say it correctly, then.
It's, we're just
It's
saying,
confusing, I'll tell you.
you need Kylie here. We need to have her do the categories, because she's doing the thing.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't even have this discussion without her input, because she's the one that's.
She was here at the last meeting though, her and Alan were.
I know.
They were both here the last time we
That's
discussed
true.
it, and we didn't get
We
anywhere
didn't
with
get
it.
anywhere, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
There's gotta be a way for her to be able to add that.
Yeah, she
information
can
on her pay
redo
stub.
I'm just asking him this for my own good,
No,
so
I
I can
think-
take this paper
And
and go to them
Okay.
and say,
Can we
you
get
know-
these categories in here so they can see what they got for time?
I mean, that's how
Well, the
I,
thing
that's
is,
how I
in
read
the
that
program
word.
for their checks or whatever, it doesn't keep track of any vacation time or
it
anything.
doesn't.
It doesn't,
And you can't make heads or tails out of
you
it.
can't, I can't make heads or tails of that check stub.
There's gotta be a way to figure that out so you guys can see
So
it.
must
You
be,
should have
must be
a,
they can write it on it then.
Well, I would think it's a program with,
Well, they keep track of
Yeah,
the
it's
vacation days.
2020.
yeah, you gotta come and ask or call and
Right,
say,
it
how many
should be on
vacation
your
days I got
checks.
left, or how many hours?
The checks are issued through NEMRIC probably, right?
Yeah.
And it's just.
Well,
yeah,
Kylie
it's
knows
just-
Must
there,
be
she can do different
prehistoric, I think.
categories. No, she knows, she's gonna change some categories, cause I wasn't happy with the way my budget was. But I think she's waiting to do
But
that.
even if you didn't have, even if you just had like an added piece of paper in with your check that showed,
Well, ours always said on the
like a
bottom, how
running
many sick
tally.
days you had left.
yeah,
It's
exactly. What
printed
you
right on my check stub, how many
use and
days I had.
accrued and used, across the bottom of your pay stub.
Does your paycheck show that?
Yes, it does.
Well, I thought most people.
My school paycheck showed it.
Yes, it does.
so do you agree that if a person did not have any vacation time left, sick time, or anything accrued to fill in that Friday, and that just got put as 0, nothing?
Well, it's, you don't get paid for
Well,
it.
actually, if they're only working 8 hours, that, they have to work on that Friday too, yeah. In order to get 40.
Well, no, to get
I
time.
don't know, I just think weekends and holidays, you ought to get paid your overtime, whether you've got 3 hours in that week myself. If you're taking your regular time, you should be normally getting off. We don't get any standby pay. We just,
Well, we did, didn't we adjust everybody's pay over there, almost $1 something an hour to,
well, you dropped mine $4 an hour and, or 5, whatever it was, and gave them, like $2 an hour, I think, so it kinda equaled out the same.
But that was what we discussed when we did it though, wasn't it? That was for standby plowing pay in the winter?
Yeah,
Okay,
to get everybody up
So you
to where they need to
basically
be.
set your whole life aside for 6 months of the year and you stay home or don't go anywhere.
Yep.
I feel if you're gonna do that, you ought to at least get paid for a holiday, my feelings, and on weekends, you ought to get
Well,
overtime.
you are getting paid for a holiday. You have that day off.
Theoretically, you're not,
Not the
the way it is now.
Not the way it's been going, though.
Right, but the way
You're getting
that's
half
written
time for
out,
what you work, you're getting half
right,
time.
but the way that's written out, you are getting paid for the holiday.
Yes. Holidays are paid. You're not getting paid.
And if you
right
don't
for
work
the
a Monday
overtime.
and a Tuesday, but you work a Saturday and a Sunday, then the Saturday and Sunday should count as a Monday and a Tuesday in my book.
I don't know, I just think somebody's gotta figure it out, and I don't know who it's gonna be.
I think it needs to be the town clerk.
It needs to be 40 hours.
Well, we need to
She's the paymaster. She needs to do
show
it.
them what,
Yeah,
they
no,
need
it's
to-
definitely an issue, but we just need to be able to tell them how we want it to be and they
Yeah.
gotta take care of it.
Right.
Right. Well,
I
But
could
you
spend
need to do it
I could
soon
spend a
because
week
we're
and
not
rewrite
meeting
the
till
personnel
January,
policy and
yeah.
get it all perfect, but
if you explain to them what you've just written down there, that probably, would work.
You're gonna have to do it tomorrow.
yeah, we're gonna be in here
And
tomorrow.
budget, yeah.
For the budget meeting.
Because you're gonna have 2 holidays. You're gonna
Yeah,
have
we didn't-
Christmas and you're gonna have New
New
Year's.
Year's.
We can discuss it tomorrow afternoon then.
Yeah, we should.
Because it's a budget issue too.
Right.
And she'll be here and Alan will be here.
I don't think they're really asking to get rich, they just, if they work a holiday, they wanna get paid overtime for their time that they work, is all they're asking, my feelings. That's all I'm asking too, I thought we were, but apparently we're
Oh, I
not.
thought you were too.
It doesn't
I
show
don't look
it.
at your paycheck, so I didn't,
It doesn't show it, but
I don't look at my paycheck either.
it goes right in the bank.
I think there's something changed between when Kylie took over
Yeah.
Sheila's.
Sheila's.
If we could call Sheila and ask her,
We
how
can.
she did it.
Okay.
it was probably just something very simple that was done and it was rewrote differently. So when they got that check stub, I bet the total dollar amount wasn't any different than it's ever been in ever. It just showed up differently.
Different. They're read differently.
Like I say, when you work like a 60-hour week and you look and you only got 32 hours regular time, you say, how the hell did I get 32 hours regular time when I work 60 hours? That's how it shows up on the goofy check stub.
Well, it still shows up as comp time on Kylie's and Alan's. They still have comp time on their page, but I don't know how they deal with it, if they take a day off or what. If you look at the bills,
Yeah.
it says comp time on it. I thought they got rid of that right out of there. For salary, yeah. There's only 2 people on salary, right? The rest are hourly.
Yeah.
Okay, we're beating a dead horse.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Adjourn to
My brain's tired.
Adjourn to,
Liquor Control Board. Yep.
What time is it? 10 of 10. Or 9:50.
I had a couple questions. I'm glad you're still here because I was reading this. It says on here, for all applicants, describe the premises. Description of premises to be licensed. Full restaurant and bar with banquet area and a total of 14 hotel rooms with own bathrooms. There's not 14 hotel rooms, is
There
there?
is across the street and upstairs. You gotta
Yeah.
count the one across the street too.
5 across the
But
street.
there's several upstairs. How many they say, 14? There's probably.
9 upstairs.
Probably, wouldn't you say?
Probably. I can go look if you want me to.
Wow, no, I
think
I thought
there's
there was
probably
like
9.
3 up there.
No,
Oh, no.
No, they're,
That's quite a few.
yeah.
So that's good. And then it says in here, he's calling himself, his title is owner. Is that owner of the business name or owner of the building?
He's buying.
By the building.
I know, but he's not the owner currently, right?
Has it gone through yet?
Kylie could tell you.
I would
She
say it's
sees-
probably owner of the business.
She sees
anyway.
the transfer before we do by several weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rosaire was in here the other day to close. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay,
that
so
one was in
A
here.
lot of stuff has come through, but I haven't seen it.
I'm cool with it. I want a restaurant in Richford. I was just curious about those couple questions.
Yeah, I don't think he would fill it out if he didn't have, or darn close to having.
I think Rose's backing it, right? Would be-
Feeling your back.
That's okay, you can.
So,
I know.
somebody needs to make a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
What are you approving,
A
Shirley?
liquor license for the
For-
crossing.
They
For,
changing the name?
what's the
or
name
keep
gonna
it
be?
open? Let's
For
go with it.
Simon's
Simmons-
Enterprises?
Is it two M's?
Yeah,
Simmons Enterprise.
Simmons. And they are keeping it in a crossing, doing business as a crossing.
Okay.
It'd
Who's second?
be easier for them to advertise.
I'll second
That
it.
name.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and Tim, maybe second. You done? And adjourn us.
Adjourn at, call it 10 o'clock.